Oops. There we go. Hello and welcome to episode 401. Guys, I missed the 400th episode. I was so upset.
You did. People were mad about it. I'm like, look, Briar, listen, don't yell at him. I'm gonna start yelling at you. You made
400 though. That was like a big number. Like the next big one's like
that is
500.
a big number.
Well, no, it's 420.
No, 420.
420.
Yeah,
420.
I'm gonna get
That's
super
honestly
high for
better
that
than
episode.
400.
I'm just warning you.
We all should
doubt
where
it.
it's legal if we partake.
Yeah, Watts,
If
you
it's
might want
legal
to
and you
stream that
partake-
episode because I'm not sure I'll be able to operate the buttons.
It's just gonna be me and you that are partaking, Briar. Gonna need help.
Yeah, the milestones, they get like further apart. Like once you get to the bigger numbers, like what's after 500? It's
They
like
do,
1,000, right?
I'm sure we can find a
Maybe
reason for
600,
690.
750.
690. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
609 and 690.
I think
both.
actually any combination of 6-9 is probably reasonable.
469, 569. Exactly.
Yeah, it's all good.
That's true.
669,
Yeah.
666.
Oh,
666.
yeah. The triple
Yeah,
six.
for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Bring out the demons. Make sure they're not busy that day.
I'll literally
Lord, we all
show
go
up
to
to that
hell.
episode with like a priest collar and everything.
Yeah.
Nice. I like
You
that.
being the priest and us being like the devils would be really funny.
That would
Actually,
be fun.
I'd be okay with it.
So how's everybody
You
doing
know, the
this week?
podcast lands on Halloween.
Oh,
that'd be
are we
nice.
going to do a Halloween
Oh.
episode? I guess we could talk about that after the...
Yeah, it's in
Yeah,
2
yeah,
weeks.
we'll
we, have,
sort
we have some time.
Yeah.
We're doing all right. We're glad you're back, Briar.
Thank you.
Good to
thank
see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
I have been priming Tyranids.
Oh my goodness!
Ah, yes.
Wow.
I love it.
I've
Okay, so
started
what
my-
models do you
like
have?
already.
What
Wow,
units?
dude.
These are Termagants. They're like the little
course.
guys that just swarm you.
Yeah.
Barbagants
Yeah.
are, I believe, artillery. These
Yeah,
are Von
Barbaras.
Ryan's Leapers, which are like,
yeah.
they're real nasty fuckers. I got a
They're sort
Tyranid
of like
Prime.
lickers, but
Oh yeah, the leapers. Yeah, I remember them.
That's a prime.
So wait, just as a reminder, Briar, did you just get into Warhammer stuff?
Just got
Or
into
just
it.
started
Yeah,
is
like
a new
literally
edition.
just
Obsession.
got into it.
Yeah, but I mean, you sound like somebody. It's been like decades of
Nope.
like I've been waiting for an awesome. Now you got addicted in T minus like 40 days.
Yeah,
Brian
it
was
was real quick.
waiting for a reason. He was like on the edge, and they just kicked him off of it. And he's like, "Well, okay, I guess this is me." now."
Hold on, Brian. Didn't you
Yeah.
have Space Marines for? So you're building another army now?
I bought a starter set box, which came with like 2 small armies. They call them
Right.
combat patrols, which are like armies
Okay.
that are just big enough to like play against each other. So I have now finished my Space Marines. They're all painted and ready to play. And I'm going to play my first game on Tuesday. So next, like this
awesome.
upcoming Tuesday, I'll be
Wow.
playing my first game. But
did you already know people, or did you have to like meet people?
no, I went
in
to
the
the local
locale.
game shop and I just started asking around, like, how do you meet people to play? Like, how do you guys like schedule this? And they're like, we have a Discord. Get on there and say, hey, who'd like to play? You know, here's what I got. Because there's several different armies. You know,
Yeah.
Nice.
I want to say there's like 12 or 13 different factions, maybe more. I don't even know how many there are.
Wow. Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
a lot.
I've been reading the books.
Wait, so what did you do in Discord? Do you go on Discord and go, who wants to fight, brothers?
Yeah, yeah. Basically.
Yeah, more or less.
yeah.
So I don't even know that I'll like play with my Tyranid army because it's going to be enough to learn all the rules for just one army. So I want to start with the Space Marine army. That's why I painted it like to completion before I started the Tyranids.
Yeah.
And
Right,
like
yeah.
because there's so many rules, like there's different like there's there's a whole rule book. Look, hold on.
Well, yeah, and then every army has their own like unique rule sets. Like they don't even do the same things during the same phases of the
Yeah.
play.
Here's the
It's a
rule book
lot.
for the Space Marines, and here's the rule book for the Tyranids. Like there's 2 different rule books.
Wow. 2 different rule books. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you have to.
Warhammer understood monetization real early.
Dude, it's the most pay to win thing I've ever seen in my life. But each unit has like, these are the rules for the unit, and you got to know
Oh
them
my
for your units.
god.
And then,
So have you
there's-
studied? Do you know everything?
Well, I'm gonna bring the book.
I think you need to tab the book like an exam so you can flick to
Right.
the
My
pages you
bookmarkers
need.
just all fell out.
Ooh.
And I've,
Oh God! Now we screwed. Lost
I've
forever.
also
He's gonna
started
start
making
again.
note cards for quick
I love
reference.
it, dude. I do.
I
So,
don't know.
yeah.
I'm getting concerned. This is just the beginning. bear in mind.
I'm not
This is
concerned.
the
I'm
beginning.
jealous. I'm actually
Yeah,
jealous. I
honestly,
wish
I'm
I had
jealous.
the time and the will to just walk into a shop and just go, "Oi, how do I get into this addiction?"
Boy,
Yeah.
I'm looking to be addicted to something new. I
I've
totally
got money.
resonate with this phase you're in, this
Yeah.
exploration phase,
Yeah.
because I just 2 weeks ago started my journey as a dungeon master for D&D.
Get out of here, really?
So
Ooh.
I went out into the
Nice.
garage. I had a lot of spare wood laying around. Pulled up my table saw and because I didn't want to go buy, a full DM setup, right?
Oh, it's so
because you have to
expensive,
have your space, and it's got to be just tall enough that your eyes look over as you can watch the people as they're playing. You know what I mean? So cut some stuff to size and made little
Amazing.
pinup things. So I have my full setup for the campaigns that we're running and stuff. It's been a whole lot of fun, but it is a lot. Because same thing like you gotta have the handbooks and
Yeah.
tab things that are relevant to your
Didn't they
campaign
just come
and
out
all
with
that
a
stuff. So
new rule set for Dungeons and Dragons?
there's
Like, weeks
5e,
ago?
and that's what. Well, weeks ago, I don't know. Everyone's still using the 5th edition, as
Okay.
far as I know. Which is it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to learn.
That's a thick book.
hmm
Is this your first
Yeah,
time
it's very
playing,
intimidating.
or is it your first time DMing?
No, first time DMing.
DMing. Oh, that's exciting.
So I
That's really exciting.
practiced for weeks. I was practicing with my kids because other parents who are listening or watching right now probably know this too. Kids don't eat fast. So in our house, I'm the guy that cleans up dinner. So when I finish my meal, I get up from the table. I go around to the kitchen and I start pre-cleaning and stuff while they sit there for an extra half an hour working on their food. And so what I do is I just start walking them through a scenario. I'm like, Riley, just you are you're a fairy and you have access to these spells and these reactions and things. Here's the scenario. Here's what's happening as you're flying through the woods. So I just start telling a story and asking them what they want to do. And I have a set of dice on the kitchen counter and I can just roll for them real quick. Be like, oh, you missed the perception check. Stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that was sort
That's
of
great.
my way to warm myself up to just doing dynamic storytelling.
Yeah.
And they love it too. They're like, yeah, do another one
Kids
today, Dad.
must
Do one
love
today."
it
Yeah,
because
I
it's
bet
Oh, they
they get
adore
to
it.
use their imagination, but be a
Yeah.
little bit guided through it. That sounds like so
Uh-huh.
good for kids.
Yeah.
I would have loved that
Yeah.
as a kid.
So that's why dinner takes 4 hours now.
No,
Mm.
dinner takes 4 hours.
Dungeons and Dragons. Jenny.
TV's right about this.
Yeah.
Kids take forever to eat. That is a thing.
Yeah.
Leo doesn't. He takes forever, but he goes on his own Dungeons and Dragon quests, in between rounds of eating. He'll be go for a bike ride and then come back. Goes, "Where's dinner?" Like, brother, it's been an hour. Dinner's in the bin. I've eaten it.
That's great.
I used to get in trouble because I would eat and nobody would be in the nobody be around anymore. So I'd start cleaning up and then somebody would come into the kitchen and be like, well, I was gonna get seconds. I'm like, and like Myelin just said, it's been an hour.
That
Yeah,
wasn't
that
even
was
safe
an
to
hour
eat
ago.
anymore. Yeah.
It's a different meal. It's not even seconds, by
Right.
I did something a little bit different this week too. Now that I think about it, I've become an Instagram influencer.
Oh boy.
Really?
All right.
Oh.
Okay.
I gotta follow you then.
What did you do?
So I got my top off, and that's not a joke. So I've been doing the jiu-jitsu and MMA streams on Thursdays, part of my stream.
Yeah.
And my folks are away at the moment, so we don't have a babysitter. So normally my wife comes down, she trains, she's like, we need 3 people to be we need one person as a cameraman, you need the instructor, you need a training partner, right? So it's a bit hard to do it with just 2 people. So
Yeah.
we've got the coach I pay to come down and train. So we need a cameraman and a training partner pretty much for these sessions because Danny's got to look after Leo while my folks are away. And he gets a guy down that's been at the gym for ages. And he has his own business. And it was asked about the YouTube channel and stuff and the Twitter and the Twitch and asked how many followers. He's like, oh, I'll put together a sponsorship for you. I was like, really? He was like, and I was like, okay. But I was like, I kind of need to have a platform to like promote his brand on because all of it's gaming and not really like this stuff. So I was like, whatever. Instagram, here I come. So I did like a Instagram MMA, hopefully fitness, documenting my experience getting back in MMA after like 10 years. Hopefully lose some
That's
weight.
cool.
Hopefully have it paid for.
Nice.
I get
That
to
sounds
wrestle on
great.
Thursday morning. And then another social media account to manage.
Right. I
Yep.
hear that.
Yep.
Make content on, yeah.
I-
yeah.
That's
do you guys
funny.
have
That'd be
any like
fun.
abandoned social media accounts at this point? Like, have you
Oh,
dropped
yes.
any that you used to update
I mean,
frequently?
MySpace.
MySpace, Facebook. I haven't used Facebook in
Friendster.
a long time.
Yeah, Facebook's gone. Been gone for a long
Yeah,
time.
Facebook
Yeah.
is. I always struggled like with Facebook. Period.
Yeah, same.
I struggled even when they were paying me to be there. I was like, I don't
Right,
know.
yeah.
Dude, you were there. That's right. Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Yeah.
to keep up with. This is why people
It's-
have social
pretty-
media.
Yeah, it's pretty telling. It's pretty telling how well the Facebook Live thing went over when Zuckerberg made a Twitch account to stream from last week.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, why do you the only reason you go on Facebook is to remember someone's birthday, like
That's
some
right.
group
Yeah.
some group messenger or like marketplace to like try and find something cheap
Yeah.
secondhand.
Oh, 100%.
Underground whiskey trade circuits,
Oh.
all on Facebook.
Right.
Someone says that Facebook is their main social platform. Honestly, I'm usually a bit concerned and wondering what's going on.
Yeah,
but-
it does. It is. It's like a.
I
It's like
mean-
a warning sign, right? Like,
Yeah.
something's off here.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite things to do on Facebook, though, is
Yeah.
to
Unless you're, like,
scroll through and
67,
see when you see how many people are posting AI images. Like, oh, this
Oh
is
my
such
goodness,
a beautiful
there's
shot.
so
Oh,
many.
it cracks me up. They're like, or the ones that like it's like people sitting down
I'm
at
an
a table and
artist.
eating, but somehow it makes the face of Jesus, and these boomers are like, he's everywhere. You know, it's like that lady has 4 arms. It's not.
Yep.
Glenda, you're killing me.
Facebook is still good for me. Like finding local groups of people who do something. Like, when I first got into kayaking, I'm like, okay, where do I go kayaking?
Oh,
And
yeah.
Facebook was key for that because you can find localized groups of people, which is harder to do on other social media platforms,
Yeah.
Right.
or like
The-
like good bike trails or something like that.
The ironic thing is like my folks like join like the 4-wheel drive groups. We were talking about this with Briar before, like camping and 4-wheel driving is pretty big in Australia. I'm sure it's big everywhere, but like, you know, quite specific to the landscape. And like they reckon the boomers, or they're boomers anyway, but they reckon the boomers, because I don't think they're old. Like they're so mean on social media. Like someone will get bogged. I'm like, oh yeah, idiot. Should have had a 4-inch lift on that. What are you doing? All the gear, no idea. Didn't have a
I
dead
can
like,
believe
Those
it.
aren't even mud terrain tires; they're all terrain tires. You bonehead.
like
I can believe it because I'm
Straight
on
up.
like the Ring neighborhood app is the meanest thing I've
Yeah.
ever seen. Someone will be like, I heard a shooting. They're like, it's fireworks, idiot. It's never going to be a shooting. And we're like, okay, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. So it's like, my package got stolen. Like, yeah, you and everyone else. It's like, Jesus Christ. Everyone's so mean. The Ring app. Don't
So
be
we
on there. It's
have-
bad.
Yeah, we've got
Bad.
like our local groups too. So this year they moved the 4th of July, fireworks. They changed where they launched them from, and they moved it like there's a park that is. I mean, if you give me a football, I could throw it from my house to the edge of the park. Basically, it's real close. So they moved it to there this year, which was perfect for us. Our whole neighborhood was like
Right.
out in the streets in our chairs with our kids, watching them go off right in front of us. We had a great time. We get on the app, and here's old Miss Glenda, who's like, well, we used to love watching the fireworks until they decided that they had to go and move them. Thanks, name of my town is not what it used to be. And the rest
Go
of the people
to
in my
the
neighborhood
fireworks, ma'am.
are like, we've had to drive to them for the last 10 years. Maybe.
Oh
They're
my God.
just mean people.
They're just mean and angry.
we had a neighborhood like Facebook group. I think Danny just kind of monitors it. And we had ducks, and I think we've got more ducks in our pool. They're like, we've got a little garden bed there, and so they land in the pool and they make a nest in the garden bed. And then we had like 8 ducklings. And we're like, fuck, what do we do with these ducklings? And we're like, we call like the wildlife place, and they're just like, let nature take them. I'm like, what? They're like, nature's meant. I was like, should we catch them? They're like, you'll probably give the ducklings a heart attack. I was like, should we not catch them and re-release them? They're like, nah, just let them go. They need to like find their way to the water, and if they don't, they'll never come back. Like they won't keep nesting there. So we just kind of like made sure they can get out of the water, and like they could be on their way, like open the gates and stuff. And then we see like on the neighborhood message group, there's ducklings crossing the main road. Can anybody help? We're like,
You gotta go stand there. Do not cross. You gotta get the ducks across.
move
Like,
Man,
and
that's
I'm not
across.
interfering. I'm just, just stay out
Right.
here.
And
Well,
I'm
they
telling you,
obviously-
dude, you could have followed their journey on your phone, and this could have made your Instagram blow up,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, true.
Should be the next
True.
Are the
big
ducklings
content.
gonna make it? Like,
That's
follow
true.
their
Actually,
journey
I think,
across the
there's,
street.
I think there's more in the pool now. Like
There
I'm
you
the
go.
crankier. I'm the
They went and got their friends and brought them back.
Yes, they're obviously surviving because all the kids are coming back and they keep making more ducklings.
Amazing.
So, Myelin, are you entering spring right now?
Yeah, it's starting to get warmer. Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
summer's December.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm
Right.
so jealous right now. I think my ultimate goal should be to move to Australia every like November,
Yeah.
and then move back
It's
here.
just constantly
Maybe
spring
when's it
and
get
summer.
cold? May?
Oh, who knows? Never.
Never.
Yeah,
never
it's
You guys
also,
probably
like,
won't.
their
You probably
version
of
say it
cold-
never really gets
Their
cold.
cold is
It's
not
like
very.
No.
52 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're like, it's
I-
cold.
I spent 3 months in Brisbane, and it was our summertime when I went over there. So it was like June, July, August, and I never needed to wear long sleeves.
No.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
my attire, like summer, shorts and a t-shirt. Winter, shorts and a jumper. Like,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, like what's the lowest it gets at, like 10, like Celsius, or like what? Like
Yeah, I
Roughly,
couldn't
on
even.
average.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you. Lowest. I'll look it up. You keep going. Lowest.
clearly it's not a problem. Yeah, where
Well,
Briar's
that
at,
can't be
it's
right.
probably
19
like,
degrees Celsius can't be right.
That
that must
sounds
be over
hot.
the week.
19 is still
be warm, though.
very warm.
That's over the week, surely.
Last year, I
Yeah,
think we
but
had
last-
we had a week where it was like -9. That was awful.
Oh my god.
That was
Really?
so
Ew.
cold.
We're not
Yeah.
quite there yet.
Already?
No,
We're
oh,
like
yeah,
last year,
just
not last
getting our
week,
colder
last
weather.
year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
That was
okay,
before the
we're
wind chill.
60s right now.
Temperature
we're
below
low
0
50s.
degrees Celsius, which is 32 Fahrenheit,
Hmm.
happens once every 5 years.
Oh.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah.
Maybe I
Yeah,
just
it's
need
crazy.
to move to Australia and start camping with your parents.
Maybe.
Just get some get a big 4-wheel drive with some all terrains.
Yep.
Start getting stuck in the
Might
bog.
be the way.
Myelin, are the gray nomads a real thing? Is that
Oh,
like
yeah.
a thing?
Yeah, no, they're a thing. Yeah, that's what my parents are talking about on those Facebook groups. They're the grey nomads, just like cruising around. Like my parents are like camping it now, like for 6 weeks, just driving across
Wow.
Australia, driving up and down. Big camper van, big 4-wheel drive.
Did
Just,
they like
just-
get in the caravans with all the other campers, or they just kind of go do their own thing?
They usually, well, it depends where they're going. They usually like find a bunch of different places to go to. They go a little bit more outback than like the normal like caravan parks. So yeah, I was just saying at the beginning of this, before we started the podcast, they sent us, because they always try to, they update us like in case they die, because they're just in the middle of
Of
nowhere.
course.
Like,
Right.
they're like, okay, we're not going to have signal for the next 4 days. We're traveling between here and here. Like, I don't know, check on us if we don't make contact. And they sent us a image on Facebook, just like, oh yeah, I had a flat tire.
I just
Dad's fixing it. We should be fine. We need 150 Ks to the next
You-
service center. Like, we'll
you
be
may want to
right.
get your parents. You may want to get your parents chipped just in case.
Yeah. Well,
Like
yeah. I
we
mean,
do our-
Dad's got like satellite phones and stuff like that, like emergency stuff to
Sure.
to put on, and like water tanks and all the stuff if you get really trapped out there, because people do die. Like people get
Oh, I bet.
caught out in the
yeah.
middle, and then they just run out of water and die because no one
They
goes
don't
on that
have a
road.
signal.
I was telling Myelin
And
before
Google
the
Maps
show-
is notoriously bad. Like, in the Google Maps can sometimes take you in the most fucked up, like back roads ever, and you'll just be in the middle of nowhere with no signal, and be
It
like,
does that
oh
to
my
me in
god,
Connecticut.
I-
I'll be like cruising around, and
I-
all of a sudden I'm on a dirt road in my Mustang. I'm like, this is not what I intended.
You got to get your
Yeah.
physical map. You can trust your big old physical map.
Yeah, that
Bring that
hasn't
with
been updated in 30 years.
We'll get a
Yeah,
new
that's a
physical
good
map.
point.
Right.
Get a new one.
I was telling Myelin, this is probably a year ago. I got completely addicted for like a month to all the Australian off-roader channels that like build up their 4x4s, so they like camp in it, like the SUVs. They like put beds in them, and they have all these racks and all this like electric, like solar panels and electrics, and they have like big what do you call them, like tarps that go out, like sunshades. So when you're camping
Yeah.
out there, you got a big sunshade. Unbelievable builds these guys do, and then they just go for like months at a time.
Yeah, like my parents, what they're driving around right now is probably over 200,000 in equipment,
Jeez.
at least. Yeah, yeah, that's the great nomads. They can pick up, sell their shit, and then just
Go.
buy a really expensive caravan, go forward drive. Because like the caravans are four-wheel drive as well. So your car's four-wheel drive, the caravans are four-wheel drive. So you just
Might as
you just
well.
basically take it everywhere.
Go on some adventures.
Yeah, they're in Parabadoo at the moment. I can't show you, but if you Google a map of Parabadoo,
Parabadoo.
Parabadoo, Parabadoo.
Parabadoo.
It's basically up north in the middle.
Parabadoo.
Yeah.
So, video games?
Destiny Rising.
Oh, yeah.
Destiny
Oh, wow.
Rising. Oh my god.
Destiny Rising.
I thought we were going
Briar's
to be able to
very
avoid
excited.
talking about that. I
But
was hoping that we could.
Briar's the first time first time he's heard Destiny and got excited in 12 years.
Right.
He's ready to go.
I was excited about this. I was just, it's not that I'm excited to play it, because I'm not. I don't really like mobile games. I don't, and like I foresee this being kind of like one of those like microtransaction heavy type of deals.
Oh yeah.
But the details of it just had me so curious. First of all, this is developed by NetEase, not Bungie, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like basically like Bungie has licensed out the Destiny name, and NetEase is out there developing the game. But they announced it with that trailer, or it was kind of like a vid doc. It looked like a Bungie vid doc, right?
Yeah.
It was a little
And
bit.
they had like 2 Bungie people in there.
Yeah, they took a cue from that, I guess, but
Like, hey,
I
this
assume
is-
there's
this is
someone
the
at
Destiny
don't all
Bungie.
you remember.
documentaries look the same?
I assume there's someone at Bungie that they can just like call and be like, "Hey, does this make any sense?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Sure, we
Because
don't know.
they're doing like an alternate universe, but it's also like they're trying to keep things kind of looking like Destiny and feeling like Destiny a little bit.
That was the first thing that shocked me. Like, why would you do an alternate universe? Like, you have
'Cause
access,
then you don't have to adhere to the lore.
but like,
Yeah,
Is
dude,
it-
can you
is it an
imagine Bungie
alternate
being like,
universe?
"God
It's a-
damn it,
they s-
NetEase
they
freaking
said
did this,"
all-
and then
Yeah, they said alternate
They paid
timeline,
these.
which we did
Alternate
open
timeline,
up
yes.
the door to alternate timelines with a lot of the.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean they're
the
just
Bray-
covering, they're just
Bray lore
covering
and
their
stuff.
butt. They want to be like
Yeah.
in the world of Destiny without people going. Actually,
Yeah, and I think that was probably a Bungie decision too, where like we cannot
have
you know,
the
they don't- they
influence.
doing.
can't constantly
True.
be trying to like weave what they're doing with what they're doing. And I think they
Yeah.
were whether this was the idea from the beginning, I think it was smart because it's like, you know what, take our property and we're gonna work with you to approve the quality in general, but we'll see. But yeah, I don't think they wanted to get into the weeds of all that. One thing I would just point out that actually, for those, I have no interest in playing it personally, but we'll have to see more. But NetEase does do Diablo Immortal, which there's quite a few fans of Diablo Immortal that
Yeah.
actually did a pretty darn good job with that. And so for those who
Did
do
Marvel
like those types of
Rivals
games, maybe
do well too?
do they do Marvel Rivals as well? Huh?
I thought they made Marvel Rivals.
They may. Again, it's one of those things like they publish and develop so much, and
they do.
but yeah, like it could
Net-
still be quite good, but I'm not interested in the type of game that it is personally.
NetEase publishes Once Human, which is what I'm playing at the moment, and that's on PC, but going to mobile. I mean, it's heavy with currencies, like that mobile currency.
yeah,
Like a million different currencies and a million different UIs, and just they just kind of get you clicking on stuff even on a PC. But it's actually really fair when it comes to free to play. So it's like they obviously understand that audience, but I don't think Destiny Rising is for the current Destiny player base or a Western audience. I think this is,
No.
for those who don't have consoles and PCs, which is a huge portion of the gaming market who are gaming on mobiles already. And I mean, what do you do for a loot and shooter? Like, you can imagine that it would be pretty competitive as a first-person loot and shooter if you've only got a mobile to play games on.
It's
like,
third person.
That
Isn't it?
sounds like a
Isn't
pretty.
it third
It's
person?
It's
both.
first and
It's like a
third,
mix.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Well,
can
I think it's
choose.
primary. Is it primary? Like, I imagine it's pretty similar to Once Human, where it's primarily third person, but you can scope in. You reckon? Is that how it is?
They said
No,
first
they showed
and
a lot
third
of-
person.
Yeah,
Okay.
they showed a lot of first
I think
person
you can
in
just
the
choose
trailers.
because a
I
lot
don't-
of people can also feel like a little nauseous when they're like first person on their phone. So
True.
third person can kind of help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put that out there. It's like this is more likely an expansion of the audience and trying to take like one of the biggest
Yeah.
looter shooters and like they're like, hey, how do we capitalize on that and bring a free to play game that uses this huge world and you know what Bungie has built. And it's less about, as you put it, like, oh, how do we convert all of these players to get on
Because-
free to play? But
Yeah.
I don't know what the general Destiny population thinks, but I imagine people might just try it out. But unless there's some sort of crossover between, like, can I get an emblem? Can I get like a weapon that's exclusive to the mobile that would transfer to my main account? Like, I
oh,
can't
God,
see
yeah.
there
Please
being.
don't do that.
Don't give my
They
ideas.
might
I
do an
can't- I
emblem
don't know.
thing. They
I
very
can't
well
imagine
could
them
do an
not
emblem
doing
thing.
that. Why wouldn't they do that?
An emblem is like for maybe logging in or something, but please don't make me play another Destiny to get something minor in Destiny. I mean, whatever. I probably wouldn't even do it at this point, but like, I just that leaves a bad taste in my mouth if they were to just.
Oh, you want the
I
guy?
think
I
they'll do it.
guess
They'll
that's
do
my
an emblem.
point,
Look,
like-
here it's easy to get the Gallon too. All you have to do is play Destiny Rising for 40 hours while watching Twitch.
Yes, yes.
And then you get a free
6
Gallon
consecutive
too.
hours.
Yeah. Because, but like, if you're already on console or PC, like, why would you play it on mobile? Like, you're already, I mean,
Right.
unless you're traveling, I can see it then. But then if there's no like cross
I could
progression,
totally see
like,
playing it on mobile. Like it's totally like a grindy, addictive kind of thing, and that you know they're gonna like
But
lean
why?
into that. So like,
why instead of your console?
why instead? Well,
I mean,
in addition to
it's a lot. I was gonna say, yeah, because a lot of it comes into lifestyle stuff. Because I mean, I'll play mobile games, even though I have a banging PC.
Mm,
Sometimes I don't want to be down here in my office. I'd rather be sitting on the couch, lounging with my kids, and they're watching something, and I'm just snuggled up with them on the couch playing my own mobile game. You know what I mean? So I can.
Yeah, I mean, my
it-
mobile
it-
game increased like 100% when Leah was born, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Dude, you know how many
Yeah, I mean,
games
remember
I've
they-
played while I've been sitting like waiting for my kids to like get done with like some kind of like soccer practice or whatever. you know?
Yeah.
Like,
That's
it's
true.
like
Yeah.
a lot of my
Yeah,
time
that's
spent
what-
sitting in a car waiting for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, just remember there's a huge, massive audience that plays free to play, mobile, tablet, etc.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like quite good games actually on the platform that, I just don't have time to play. So I think it's got this stigma that like, oh, it's a mobile game. I think this is going to come with the trappings of the type of game that I personally like. I don't want to log in for like purple and yellow crystals every day. And like, it probably is
Right.
going to have even more
You're
currencies
not gonna
on
get that
top
Gallon
of
horn too with that attitude.
no, yeah, but yeah, the expansion into that audience could be quite huge. And again, like as a Destiny player, I don't think they're trying to. You definitely didn't even get that tone from Bungie. It wasn't like they're like, oh, we can't wait until you try the
Yeah.
mobile experience. They're not even trying to sell you on it. Yeah, I think that was a great point that it's expanding into that group and it's
See,
not meant to.
This
like,
is
convert
I
you.
think this is why I don't understand why it's a alternate timeline. It's like, why not have it connected in some way to hook
Well, I think because
both of those player bases together?
But if you're Bungie, that's a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It
so
would
really-
be a
like,
nightmare.
it's not-
Instead of doing
Here's a
like
good
the
example.
same timeline, do like, okay, here's like a different point in history. Like we'll go backward in the timeline. But it's
prequel
still
or
like this is
Well, they did.
the same Destiny. It's just like we're at a different timeline. We're at a different point in time, not a different
kind of-
branch of time.
It kind of is like they're doing the Dark Age. They're doing like a prequel pretty much. But here's a good example of like why you want it to be a parallel timeline or alternative timeline. Like one of the vendors was like a Fallen, and people were like,
Yeah.
wait, they're not allies yet. Like they're like definitely out. All the lore, they're definitely like shoot on sight. They did the Battle of Six Fronts. They like, you know, there's a whole bunch of war that's still about to come up, and it's all because of the Fallen. And it took them like 5 years for them to become allies. Yeah, like
you know a lot.
know,
Have you ever thought about making like a Destiny lore channel? Making some lore videos?
Pretty good about this, bro.
You can do a Destiny Risen lore channel.
Yeah.
It's true. Start fresh lore.
Yeah,
I
get
can't
on the
wait to be on
Instagram.
my mobile every night reading the Grimoire.
You put it on Instagram, that way they can watch it on their phone. They're playing on their phone. It's circular. It's all circular.
But yeah, I think that's why. I mean, you know, they Bungie's always adding more backstory and more things that happened in the Destiny's past, or developing characters more. So yeah, I mean, we've recently had a whole bunch of stuff about the Dark Age, so it's kind of like they don't want Destiny Rising out there like just making their own storylines and putting their foot in it.
And you'd have to have like a dedicated Bungie person to always be with NetEase, like talking about the lore.
It would slow everything down so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
And then NetEase wouldn't like him because he'd be the guy who's always like, "Nope, can't do that. Sorry."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I believe, what is it? November. Yeah, that the closed alpha kicks
November
off.
1st. Yeah. Very soon.
Are you guys going to
America,
check it out?
Right?
Are you
North
going to
America?
look at it?
It's only for like US and Europe, I think they said.
Oh,
Something
Europe
like
as well.
It's like the Western audience, which is
Are you guys
interesting.
going to download the beta at least? Like check it out.
It's closed. I mean, I guess we could get
early
access to it.
pre-alpha closed beta. Yeah, I think we could probably ask, and maybe, they could.
Look, I would be interested in
like
playing it just to comment on it, but
yeah, same.
I'd play it, but the Emperor needs me.
Yes, Emperor is very needy. He needs.
Yeah, I'm gonna be busy for the next 3 months. So
yeah, I would like to play. Of course, after spending 10 years, playing Destiny, of course, I want to see what they're doing. But I don't.
Somebody else's take on it. Hell
for that
yeah,
type
I
of
want to
game,
see
so.
that.
they did finally add a freaking scythe, which I've wanted in Destiny forever. So maybe
Right.
they're on to something over there.
Like the
at
Grim
NetEase.
Reaper?
We had a side the nightmares, didn't we?
Yeah, but then you can't use it outside of that. It made me really sad finding out it wasn't like a new super or something.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was gonna say, just to reinforce the types of players there are. I have a friend that is a huge Diablo fan, plays tons of console PC stuff, but got very into the mobile scene and actually works in that scene too. So a little bit of that, but is genuinely addicted to Diablo Immortal. And when Diablo 4 came out, I was like, actually, that's really fun, man. You should check the campaign out and blah blah. And now Vessel Haters out. It's just his game is Diablo Immortal. And he loves it. He's like, it's doing all these things that Diablo 4 doesn't do. And I'm like, I get that. It's just not the style that I want. And to be fair, I've not really played much of it. I've played a little, but he's genuinely it's a better game for these reasons than Diablo 4. So things like that can happen. So, I'm just saying, you never know. If you want to play on that platform, it could be interesting.
They did make a very good Diablo mobile game, but yeah, the monetization of that game is god awful.
Yeah, he defended that even. I know that they've adjusted something, but that came up
because he's working on it. He's like, yeah, I want him to get. I want someone to spend $100,000.
No, he doesn't work on it. But it was it was exact. I was like, wait though, can't you buy Ledger? He's like, well, there is some of that you can boost, but he's like, it's really not that overall, and you don't have to participate, and it doesn't really. He was defending, and he's he comes, from the games journalism background side and stuff too. So
of course,
clearly an addict though, but I'm just saying it's an interesting perspective where I'm like, why wouldn't you just play Diablo 4? He's like, this is better. I'm like, okay,
this is my jam.
So we'll see what they do. I'm just saying, give it a chance if you're into that platform.
I'm just too old, mate. It hurts my neck looking at my phone.
It is uncomfortable.
And then by the time you put it on your computer, you're like, okay, well, I might as well just play it on PC if I'm sharing the screen to my computer.
Yeah, how are you gonna update your Instagram if you can't handle a mobile game, dude? You got to get that Instagram going.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing exercise. That's why. My neck's crippled from all the wrestling.
But yeah, this had been leaked and rumored for a long time too. And I think it's good that it's finally out there.
Long,
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, how long ago was that NetEase like?
Where they paid Bungie
partnership?
$100 million or
Yeah,
whatever
was
for.
that even in Destiny 2? Was
Years.
that Destiny 1
That was
era?
a long time
It was a
ago.
long time ago.
Very
I mean, I
long.
think
Was
it was only
this
like
at
5 or
all
6 years ago,
involved
but
in the like kind of the articles that came out kind of like a month or two ago, where some games had been canceled, some games had been moved around? This was probably all separate from that, right?
Oh yeah,
I
because
imagine
it's
so.
it's like
Because it was
early
NetEase.
2019. Early, actually, maybe
2019.
maybe 2018. Sorry,
2018.
but I was gonna say,
So
it
this is all pre-Sony acquisition too. So it's like, what happens
yeah.
there?
I don't know.
well, I mean, I think it comes with. I was gonna say, I think there's that interesting aspect, which is this. I mean, the game isn't even coming out until we don't know when. It's only early pre-alpha, but when it does, it should be, I presume, another. They'll get some revenue share from it. I assume. I assume
would
they didn't
think,
just
yeah.
sign it away for 100 mil and be like,
Right.
yeah, if you make, you know, literally hundreds of millions of dollars.
10 million a
that we're not
day
gonna
on
get any.
microtransactions or whatever
Because
mobile
that's what
games do.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
makes
I
crazy
assume
money.
that was the deal. It's like, you guys take it, develop it. We'll give you an alternate timeline, and hey, that could fund us as a studio, and we'll give you some light support along the way, obviously. And I assume that's it.
Yeah, guidance.
So in a way, it would potentially fund Destiny 2 and what's to come. Maybe. I'm speculating.
Sounds like someone's getting more cars in their garage. That's what it sounds like.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
Spoiler, it's not you guys.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's not me. I thought it was me.
Yeah, I can't wait for all the sponsorships. Then this video is sponsored by Destiny.
Oh, you know
Oh,
what?
dude.
Dude, it's coming.
Destiny
I'm
Shadow
sure.
Legends.
Yeah, dude, how much
Yep.
is M-Tash gonna love this game? You know what I mean?
I was just
He's
thinking
gonna
that
love it.
too.
He's gonna
Yeah.
love it. I'm just kidding.
He was like,
Yeah.
I said I'd never be back on Destiny, but here we are.
Yeah, full circle.
So,
I mean, it might be gotcha, right?
yeah, we didn't talk about the gotcha thing, right? Because we don't know.
Apparently, you can also create a character, so I don't know how that works with like having characters, but also creating a character. I don't really understand.
Yeah,
how
I thought it was more like a hero kind of thing where you picked a character.
Apparently,
Well, I
you
mean,
can also make your own character.
Huh.
is the
And they
gotcha
could be
part
sort
the
of like-
supers?
I don't know. It could
Like
be sort of
applying
like
the
I mean, Genshin Impact, you have like your like wanderer or whatever hero that you start with, but then you're also adding people to your
True.
repertoire that you then
That's true.
switch to
Oh,
and
your
play. So it
team,
could be
yeah.
something kind of like that. I don't know.
Mm,
Yeah, could be.
we
We'll
will
see.
see.
We
will
will
see.
see. We will
Yeah.
see. But honestly, like Destiny's monetization is really egregious. The actual main game, like they charge for a lot of things: expansions, the dungeon key, the seasons, the microtransactions. Every week there's a new addition to the store. So this is going to be worse than that, probably.
Well, the irony would be
doing that.
if
Free to
it's
play.
better.
If it's better, that would be funny. If it's literally
Like-
just like gotcha for new characters, but everything else is just like free.
Yeah. And imagine
Yeah.
imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, it may or may not be the same development teams around, say, Diablo Immortal, but that would be, if you're curious what it could be, I would boot up like Diablo Immortal or go look at another game and sort of see how they handle it as a free to play game. I mean, it could be very different, but for perspective. Speaking of Destiny, should we touch on Frontiers briefly?
Yeah, that was
because
some,
that is something
like,
I am excited about in the Destiny universe.
This is
but-
something that people actually have been pretty perceptive to, of like, yeah, this actually sounds pretty cool. So they told us about solo ops today. So the TLDR of this is that they're aimed to be around 10-minute missions that you can do as a solo player or with a pre-made fire team. There's not going to be matchmaking for it because it's kind of its point is like you go in solo. They're low commitment options because they found that there was like a gap in having something that you can just jump in for 10 minutes and it
Yeah.
not being like a PvP thing or Gambit or whatever. And it will also allow you to use the challenge customization that the game has like across all the other activities so that you can make progress towards better gear. And I think the more interesting thing for me about this is that they're meant to stay fresh with repeated plays. So they're going to be using a system that is actually very different that we do not have anywhere else in Destiny. So the way that it's going to work is we'll sometimes have optional goals when you get in there, which will present when you're in an activity, like treasure goblins. So if you play, speaking of Diablo, treasure goblins can appear where you can kill a goblin. Secret passageways to different rooms, treasure chests, and then another thing that they're doing. This is the most exciting thing that I thought was exciting anyway. They're gonna have a dynamic enemy spawning system. So this system is running in the background, and it's going to basically monitor how well you're doing or how long since you've been in combat, how close you are to getting to your objective. And then it's going to spawn squads of enemies when that system determines that you need to be challenged. So it's not just going to be, when you're doing a lost section, you're like, okay, I clear this out, I'm done. It's going to be like, no, you've cleared that out. You haven't been in combat for X amount of time. So now we're spawning like more stuff for you to fight. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then where it's going to take place is just some different locations. Because this is free to play. Solo ops are free to play. So they're wanting to bring in locations that free to play players don't really have access to. So using some stuff they haven't used as much.
I mean, that makes sense. Like free to play, like entry for new players. Like they don't have to find a team straight away. They can see if they like the game. Adjust the difficulty.
Yeah, introduces them to that customization system. Get to introduce to the game. They're really feels like they're building out their free to play experience because they are adding stuff all the time that's free to play, and you've got Onslaught that's free.
Or maybe they realize they need to work on getting people into the game.
Perhaps.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly it. Like they have so many things that it's like I got to get set up. I got to matchmake. How long is this going to be? And it's not that's I feel like it is the core of Destiny, but I struggle with that sometimes. I'm like, just want to like pop into something, but I'm like, then I want to play a strike on a higher level, and I'm like, even that is potentially gonna like I got to change my setup, and so we'll see. And then is it gonna be fun enough to rotate through that and get hopefully some decent rewards? That's what I wonder. Versus like, are you gonna still be left feeling like I should just play like the seasonal activity or the the strike because it's just way better use of time versus the pace of it, but.
Yeah.
Far down the road, though.
Definitely a cool addition. I do. Yeah. I like that dynamic spawn system. I think that's good.
Yeah. 100%. And it's a good reminder that right in the HUD, right, they're going to launch with Frontiers. Basically, like each expansion is going to have its own like cover, if you will. But they wanted you to have like solo, pinnacle, end game stuff. Yeah, matchmake. But the point is to give you those options, and this would be a core offering now. So it's not like it will be hidden in the background like Lost Sectors or something.
It's just cool to get a new core activity in general. Yeah. How long have we been doing strikes, crucible matches? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
long time.
A decade. So yeah, it's cool to finally maybe start to look at the foundational aspects of Destiny and maybe start to re-innovate there instead of always looking at tangential things.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's solo ops. We also had the dungeon come out. It was the first time there was a world's first dungeon with contests that happened, and there was definitely a lot more people watching because of that than usual for like a brand new dungeon launching.
And it didn't go as fast as I thought it would either.
It did not. How long was the first? Did it take the first?
I think it was about 4.5 hours. And but they had to verify, they said. So I don't know if that number changed, but it was 4.5 to 5.5 hours. I believe I tracked that.
That sounds about right.
But for a dungeon, normally. Yeah.
Dude, this dungeon looks complicated as hell. I was like, this is like probably the closest dungeon to a raid mechanic-wise that we've seen. And it makes sense because it's using like Deepstone Crypt kind of stuff. It's using, like the operator and the suppressor and all that stuff.
I got so confused when I like woke up in the morning. I was like, oh, just check in to see how the dungeon race is going. I'm like, is this Deepstone Crypt? And I was like, wait. I was like, it's got some Deepstone Crypt mechanics going on. Like I'm hearing call outs that it's like it. And then I was like, oh, it's definitely not Deepstone Crypt though, but it's like very similar thematically.
There's
and-
like numbers, and I was like, oh god, there's numbers. You gotta look at numbers and shoot the right numbers.
yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Has anybody soloed it yet?
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. It has been soloed. Yep.
Yeah, and they did, they successfully had launched. That's really what I was tracking is how long did it take? It was 4.5 to 5.5-ish hours. And then I think it was in that 5.5 to 6 hour, period that they were able to turn on normal mode after they saw the top 3 at least had popped through. But that was all brand new to Destiny, contest mode dungeon and that. But I was happy to see, in other words, that they rolled it out. That's a new feature. One that I'm looking forward to with raids and stuff, hopefully in the future. And it seemed like that went over fine. There was no crazy crap, we can't get it working or anything like that,
Nice.
So I think that made people happy.
Yeah, I definitely like that system. I'd like to see it for raids, right? When the first X amount of teams are done, you can have the option of choosing normal.
Yeah.
To don't have to be a god gamer to be like, I want to see some of the raid, please. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to check it out. I just have been playing other stuff and where we're at with Destiny and having some time before Frontiers. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to play it the first week. So
You don't have to
probably play
rush,
it in the
yeah.
next week or two. Maybe get lucky and get Icebreaker. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing in the 12, I gotta give a shout out to because we got a friend in here, and it's a challenge for content creators section. So this is streamers from 14 different regions are competing against each other to speed run the new dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
And then the
Win.
team who completes it in the shortest time will receive $1,000 of Twitch subs each. And the reason why I bring this up is because our friend Rin Vixen's in here.
Oh, really?
Yay.
Rin's gonna be doing it.
She's
Yeah,
playing
when's-
Diablo 4 right now rather than bloody
Yeah,
Destiny.
where's
What's going
the
on?
Down to
Big
practicing,
Rin.
Rin.
Come
What are
on.
you
That's the
doing?
level of confidence. The level of confidence.
That's true. Wednesday, October 23rd, 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Pacific time is when Rin's going to be doing the dungeon.
Okay.
1 a.m. to 4 p.m. Wait,
4
what is-
a.m.
4
Pacific.
a.m.
Pacific time, yeah.
Pacific.
So
Yeah.
That's a weird
if you're
time.
up by 7 in the morning, you might be able to catch.
She's
it
in
by,
Australia. Yes. I think that's a reasonable hour for you, right, Molly? Yeah, because you started up your stream shortly, right around there for Once Human.
1 a.m. Pacific to Oz. Yeah, it's probably like 8 o'clock at night or something.
Gross.
Isn't it 4 p.m. or something?
4 p.m. Well,
4
4 p.m. for me.
For
but
you.
They're 3 hours ahead, so it's like 7.
Okay. Well, I will be rooting for Rin.
Yep.
Get in
Rin.
there,
Rin.
Rin.
Yeah.
Do it.
Get her in.
Get in. And that was pretty much it. They were explaining how tonics work because everyone's confused. So
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, it's like we got a bit of a wait before the next Act 2.
a little
of
bit.
Episode 2 launches.
2 episode
Act 2.
'Cause a lot
Episode
of number.
2.
Destiny 2, The Final Shape, Episode 2, Act 2.
Yep.
Try to keep up. And it's got a name, Revenant, in there, but whatever.
Yeah, true.
Can I mention from the Xbox showcase something
Yeah.
Yes.
on my mind?
Yeah.
Can we move
That
on to
happened
that?
today. That happened
Lay it
today
on
at
us.
Xbox Showcase.
I just want to. I'm obviously a huge fan.
Everyone
of
wishes that
Remedy.
improving-
Yes, they had the Lake
Right.
House expansion for Alan Wake 2 and all, and that certainly excited
Yes.
about. However, their first multiplayer game ever, and I loved Control. I loved the
Great game.
moments where you're shooting and all of that.
Control is
action.
good.
So yeah, they have a 3-player PvE co-op multiplayer game. They haven't talked a lot about what it is. This was previously Project Condor, but they showed a teaser trailer for it. And imagine the action of Control, a little more vivid and bright.
What's it called?
Oh, sorry, I should have named it. FBC Firebreak. So
FBC?
Federal Bureau of Control,
Okay.
but it's
I
just
was like the
FBC.
FTC.
FBC
I don't
is
wanna be
the
the
Federal,
FTC.
Federal Bureau of Control, but FBC Firebreak, you will be a firebreaker is sort of the nomenclature on that. But yeah, 3-player co-op online. It is not a game as a service, and they actually say you're meant to get in and out, which is music to my ears. You will of course have some things to modify and different guns and stuff, but it's not meant to be a
right.
crazy grinding game. But it looks really dope. And I was a big fan of games like Back for Blood, and I can't say that it will be that, but it has tones of that for me in the world of Control. It is not Control
So it's
DLC.
like, is
It
this
is not
like after in the timeline? Is it after the events of
It-
Control? Is like Jesse Fadden the head of the FBC?
Yeah, so it is in the world of Control, and like they talk about it in a way that you should go read it instead. But it is not an expansion. It is not DLC or a sequel or a prequel or whatever. But it exists in the world, and I think
Definitely in the world. I mean, it looks
you'll
like
learn
Control
things.
a lot.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah,
that
it's in-
cover art does not give me Control vibes though.
With the gameplay,
Yeah.
does,
The
though.
cover art doesn't. Yeah, the gameplay
I was like,
does for sure.
because I was just looking through IGN to just spot it because I was like, Control's pretty like, got a very solid theme to it, and then
Yeah.
I didn't notice it because of that.
Once you start looking at the
Yeah.
gameplay, though, like the levels definitely look like they're.
Yeah.
What was the name of that
Yeah.
area? Like was it the Bureau?
the
Or the
oldest
Bureau?
house. Yeah, the bureau. Yeah, the
Was it called
oldest
the
house,
house?
or
Yeah,
I think it's the oldest house.
oldest house.
But yeah, no, I'm super excited. That's sometime
Oh,
in
it's first
2025.
person.
Yeah. I said 3-player co-op. I did not mention the perspective. I should have.
I
Blurted
got you,
it out.
Fran. I got you. Okay, that looks completely different, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
like,
three-
obviously the environment looks like Control, but it is a first person.
Yeah, and they definitely insert
That's
a lot
kinda
more
cool.
vibrancy into
Does look
it.
great,
Like,
yeah.
I think they want some of that. So I'm looking forward to learning more about it.
Some of these guns are wild. One's like
Yeah.
it's like a spring-loaded like hammer, like it just punches like
Yeah.
this, and then he like puts it to the ground and hits the ground and launches
Yeah.
himself in the air.
Pogo launch.
I'm in.
Yeah, and they end on a shot of like you shoot like a gnome out of a gun. It's got all of these paranatural. I think
That's
it's
pretty great.
called paranatural augments or something like that. But they're effectively your ultimates, and it sounds like you can like customize some of that as you kind of get set up for the run and all that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and big shout out to that. It is their first multiplayer game. You think of Remedy has been around, since Max Payne and
Yeah.
all of that through Control and Alan Wake now and everything. And to see them kind of branch out is exciting, while of course using the world of Control.
It's also so interesting. They went to first person, like where their previous games are third person. They're like pretty good third persons too. Like they're good third person games. Like, and up, we'll make it even more challenging. We'll do the multiplayer and we'll make it first person.
Yeah, I can't wait to check
Damn.
this out. This looks great.
Okay.
Does one of these guns shoot post-it notes? Is that what I'm seeing?
Probably.
There's a lot of funky stuff in there.
Probably.
I'm into that. I'm into this.
Probably.
This looks great. Can't wait.
I don't have my my Elgato set up. I used to I'll be able to show my screen, but I can't do that anymore.
2025.
Cool.
That's as like specific as they got with the release date.
2025.
Yeah, I don't even think they put a window on it yet.
I think
so.
all of these, except ones that had already been like announced to have a release date, don't have release dates. It's just 2025 sometime.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
The
Cool.
one that I was definitely up my alley from the Xbox showcase was Wuchang Fallen Feathers. People keep calling this a Souls-like, but I think they're just saying that because they see like a parry and a boss and go, it's Souls-like.
Everything
But
gets
to me,
named
this
Souls-like.
looks a lot more similar to like just an action RPG, right? It looks very similar to Wukong, which isn't a surprise because it's a Chinese developer. So, but visually, I thought it looked very cool. Like there's a lot of very fancy looking abilities in here. But I'm always down for like a very solid action RPG game. And
It's giving me
like
big Neo vibes. Is that about right?
could look like Neo too. Neo can get like pretty fast combat. So
Yeah, it's a lot like Japanese like samurai theme with like abilities, like lightning and fire and stuff.
yeah, we got to see like a couple things in there because you could see that her armor was changing, so that you can definitely like get different armor. You're not just wearing like the same thing forever. And got to see a ton of different abilities that all looked pretty freaking cool.
Oh yeah, there's some magic going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't even played a lot of Wukong yet, but it seems to have some of that perspective going on. So
So we
Josh,
don't
yeah,
again.
dope.
That's just 2025. So
yeah.
sometime
I
in
didn't-
2025.
I didn't look at the Xbox showcase, but I wouldn't mind knowing what else was in there. But I'll have to have a look for next time.
That was a lot of the big stuff. You know, they had some reveals. One of the bigger ones was from the Bloober team. Who didn't they do Silent 2?
Yes.
Hill 2 remake. Yeah,
Yes.
but
They
that
have
new
their
game-
own like it looks cool. So this is Cronos the New Dawn.
yeah.
And this is their new IP. They're not, remaking something. The Silent Hill 2 remake, people have been loving. It is very, very,
Yeah,
very
people
good.
are really excited about it.
It's good. And then while they were doing that, they were also working on Cronos the New Dawn. So this is more of a sci-fi thing. It's a sci-fi horror game. And it's a twisted time travel story set in post-apocalyptic future of 1980s Poland. So when I was watching this is what it reminded me of. It reminded me of a little bit of like Dead Spacey,
Mm-hmm.
could meet Silent Hill, but also a little bit of Returnal, because
gonna
Returnal
say
had that kind
Returnal.
of Returnal had that sci-fi, a little spooky, lots of timey-wimey stuff going
Yeah.
on.
Originally, I was going to say it's
Yeah.
like if Interstellar had a baby with Silent Hill, but then I was like, Returnal's pretty close to that. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
The
Tommy
aesthetics of
Wimey.
this is really cool.
timey-wimey. Aesthetics are very cool.
Did they show
Yeah.
any
Yeah, you
more
get that Dead
gameplay
Space
than
as well.
just like the 10-second kind of walking around?
At the end,
At the end, that was
Yeah,
kind of
That was
it.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering is like how action driven is it? Is it is it slower paced? I mean, I don't think we really know yet. So
But the
don't
cinematic
really
But it looks
trailer was
visually
definitely
really cool.
looking. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah,
main
I love the vibes.
yeah, the main
Sci-fi
character they
horror.
show looks
Sci-fi
a
horror.
bit like what are those BioShock characters with the
Oh,
drill and
Big
the
Daddy?
Daddies.
the aquatic, the big daddies. He looks like kind of a horrific Dead Space big daddy. Yeah, walking around this very grim, dark, kind of Returnal-esque, looking world. And you got this little like light over your shoulder, and I think that's given off some of those Dead Space kind of vibes too. But
Yeah.
but I don't
It's
know. I'll be
also a
curious to
little
see what
bit. It's a bit like Stranger Things, upside down world, a
Yeah.
little bit as well.
definitely that too.
I think the reason it reminds me of Returnal as well is like you're going between like I guess the playable space that you're in, and then you're also in a house playing chess with the grandma. And like
Yeah.
Returnal had a lot of that where you went in the house and you're like, oh, it's normal, everything's great and cool, and it gets all twisted. So I'm excited to see what they do with their own IP, because they have
Mhm.
kind of struggled with their own games a little bit. They tend to have really good ideas, but then the execution is just like a little bit off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm down to play this. It looks cool.
Looks cool though. Yeah, the CEO called it a survival experience.
Ooh.
I think this is as close as we're gonna get to
Like
like what-
survival
what is
horror,
the
like
game?
copyrighted.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely gonna be in that world given their background. I think so.
Yeah.
Well, if they
That
can
looks
keep
cool.
their like quality up from Silent Hill 2 remake, then I think we got a lot to be excited about with
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's always been the ding on them, right? It's like their stuff looks nice, but it's not quite like that. Doesn't ever quite
Not
reach that like
quite
A
there.
quality.
Yeah.
Cool.
There is one that Myelin might be interested in
Okay.
called Mistfall Hunter.
Oh yeah, is that the
It's
PvPvE?
It's a third-person action PvPvE extraction RPG.
Okay.
And a lot of
You have
people
my
were like,
attention.
there's some enemies in here that look very like Elden Ring.
Mm,
So
I like the look of this.
Yeah,
I'm
it kind of had
definitely-
that.
This does have Elden Ring vibes for
It's got a little
sure.
Hellblade
Yeah, it had
in it
like
too,
a-
I think.
It kind of did look like
Mm.
that to me, like a little Elden Ring, Dark Soulsy extraction, PvP elements in there where you're, I guess, just sneak up on someone and get into a fight with them while you're trying to get out of there too. So
Yeah,
Looks
I think
interesting.
when it comes to like extraction shooters now, like we're kind of seeing or extraction games because they're not always shooters now. They're like
Yeah.
extraction genre.
yeah.
It's good to see that line really blurred. It's not just like military realistic guns, one tap to the face and
Sure.
like
Yeah,
you lose all your gear.
Tarkov.
Tarkov-esque. You're getting these like really cool themes. I mean, RPG elements. So I'm assuming that's kind of like a lot of extraction games, you will have your character progression. So when you lose all your gear, you feel like you're still getting something. You know, you do like a
Yeah.
bounty, you like level up in some way, just to get your base attributes a little bit better. So I don't know if they gave details on how that would work, but maybe that's your permanent progression in your character RPG stats, and then obviously you get like your gear and stuff on top of it. Be interesting. I've only played a couple extraction games that are like melee based. Obviously, like
Yeah.
extraction games and like latency and all that kind of stuff. You know, you just got to imagine you're playing For Honor, but if you die, you lose all your gear. So they can be incredibly frustrating if you don't have good connection. But if they get good connection, good theme, and they get the thrill of an extraction game like Witchfire's got, where it's like you're constantly like you're harassed and you need to get out, your heart starts racing, you've got some gear, you're like, oh my god, and then some demon pops up, you're like, oh fuck my life. Yeah, okay. When's it come out?
2025.
Funny you should ask.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
2025.
Have any
That
of
looks
you
cool.
followed the Expedition 33 RPG? games and
Yes.
stuff?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Their voice cast? What the
Yeah.
hell is going
They
on?
published. They've got Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil. They've
Yep.
got Andy Serkis, who obviously was the original Gollum. He was in Andor as well.
Yep.
Got Ben Starr in there.
Miss
I got
English,
Ben
who
Starr
played
in there. Yeah.
Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
So killer cast.
Dude, turn-based games are kind of making a bit of a comeback. Like they've been creeping in there, but then there's been like some bangers that pretty much everyone is like, yeah, I really like this. And Expedition looks like visually incredible. Like some really impressive visuals they have going on. I'm excited
Yeah.
for that one.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
really excited.
Well, and one of the things that I've liked the most about the stuff they've shown has actually been one of the things that turn-based games seldom get right for me personally is environments. Like, because a lot of the environments end up feeling like just kind of neutral spaces we're moving through until you're in the combat, and then it's all like pretty scripted stuff that's supposed to look really good. But they're just like exploration environments look incredible that they've shown off so far. And
They
they're
do
very
look
imaginative,
incredible.
lots of different color palettes and stuff like that too. So there's not a lot of
Pretty
monotony
sure
there either.
it's
So
Unreal Engine 5. So
I
we're
would
starting
think
to
so
see
too.
a lot more of that coming
so,
to
yeah.
fruition. Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm looking forward to that one. Okay. Fran, do you want to go? What have you been playing? What have you been playing?
I can go fast
excited
and just say I've spent my time on Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred, and I forgot if we talked about it a little bit last week. Maybe I did the same thing briefly. I was like, I'm still going through it, but I took a 9-month break and like came back. It's a full expansion, $40. Of course, there's like a $10 season battle pass, which is just vanity items. But anyway, really good. I really enjoyed just playing the campaign. That was the sign for me. A new class, a new area that's integrated. But
are you playing
all
the new class or continuing your
yeah.
character?
No, yeah. And actually, as a reminder, that's the one thing people it pisses them off. You seasonal, you always have to start a new character. They're still, working on the speed at which you can do things. But anyway, the new class Spiritborn is really cool, really powerful. But just
what's its whole vibe? Like, what does it do? Like,
the Spiritborn is about calling in spirit animals. So you have like a fiery jaguar, a storm bird, a poisonous centipede, and all of those animation and effects are based. There's
So it's
also
like being an
the
Australian?
protective gorilla with Mylin's parents. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Although I don't think they have jaguars, but
but man, they're just I think people are gonna say what they will about Diablo 4. And what I mean by that is I think people might be burnt out on those types of games sometimes, or just give it a lot of like, how people are. What I'm getting at though, man, the craft of Blizzard though, like, dude, the artistry, the cutscenes, the voice acting, and the soundtrack in Vessel of Hatred, the additions there are just like so good. So for me, I'm always very much about the detail and the experience of that. And so to be able to go through like 20 hours of honestly mostly just focused on the new character, playing the new campaign, which has a pretty cool story. And as someone for me who, I'm streaming and tune in and out of the details of story, like I really enjoyed it. And then it's got all new, end game on top of everything else. They've brought quality of life improvements. So basically, if you liked Diablo 4, you enjoyed the campaign and maybe even grinded some of the seasons and you're like, you took the break, I would really recommend coming back. And I'm still discovering like new things to do in the end game. And I know people have been really enjoying it. One thing I would point out that they did that, I think we want to see games like Destiny do and others, but they finally did like the library thing for your aspects, they're called. So
Oh.
let's say you get a 35% increase in crit strike damage as your roll, right? And it can go up to like 40 but the point is we were saving hundreds of these things, some of us like trying to sort through. You can just delete it. It goes into your library at that number. Just being able to delete the loot. And I'm always, someone for gear management
That's
improvements.
Sure.
It's amazing.
That's
and they
very
even,
good.
they added many seasons ago that if you do save loot, you can search by keyword, and I believe that works
Oh
on,
my
on
God.
console as well as. But yeah, you can literally just search for critical strike or vulnerable, and like it'll just
Yeah.
find you your items, that are in your vault. And so anyway,
That's
there's a
great.
bunch beyond that they've done. There's so much customization. They're called like affixes, each little thing that you can tack on, and they have all these systems now to really customize and go deep. So anyway, super enjoyable and highly recommend.
Hell yeah.
I got a question for you, Fran.
Okay.
After the release of Diablo 3, I was a little skeptical to like jump right in at the launch of Diablo 4. I just wanted to like see what the community said about it, and like because I generally like these games, I put like usually I'll put like 80 or to 100 hours into them and then let it go. You think now is a good time to jump into that game, or should I wait till there's like more DLC out?
Why
or,
were
like,
you hesitant in the first place, though?
just because of the launch of Diablo 3 was so rough? I was like, I'll just give Diablo 4 a little bit of time to mature. And then also people were complaining immediately about that whole like, oh, you got to start a new character every season.
Yeah, and that was just for seasons. I would have just said Diablo 4 was great when it launched and generally well reviewed, etc. But anyway, I get the concern and like, there's so many improvements. And so in other words, as long as you like action RPGs and Diablo, it is such a quality game. And just here's what I recommend to everybody if you haven't played. Just play campaign into expansion campaign. So play Diablo 4 campaign, all the cutscenes, let it take you through the world. I would recommend not getting sidetracked with like these quests and systems. Like just go all the way through it and then branch out. And then if you want to get into vendors and all this other stuff, because I maybe it's just me, but I can get burned out on the amount of time I start like veering off.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I did the same thing with like Cyberpunk. I recommended people once Phantom Liberty came out, right? I was like, just beeline it all the way into Phantom Liberty and get it all kind of plugged in and going before you get too sidetracked and burn out. And but anyway, I would play these two back to back. I bet you that's alone an easy 20, 30, plus hours of just enjoying that stuff. So
yeah.
Nice.
Too many games, man. There's so many games.
There's a lot
I
of
know,
them.
man.
There is. So the demo for first Berserker Khazan came out. The closed demo. So you could sign up like a few months ago. I signed up, and then I was also emailing people frantically saying, "Help! Please make sure I can get in. I'm gonna be very sad if I can't." And you could also get access via Twitch drops. So there were a couple things. If you're on PS5, you could get access by watching Twitch for an hour. If you were part of the Xbox Insider program, you could just download it. So they don't currently have a PC beta available. I assume that will be coming soon. But this is like anywhere from 6 to 10 hours of content with the game. So it's like a good meaty chunk of the game. It's a Souls-like, and it's definitely a Souls-like through and through. However, I knew that, and I was like, I'm excited for another Souls-like. I love it's like kind of cel-shaded art style, which is really cool.
Okay.
But as I was playing it, I was like, this is very similar to Neo, actually, in a lot of ways. So when I was walking around the world, I'm like, okay, that feels kind of Neo. As you start getting more abilities, because there is a skill tree, and each weapon has an individual skill tree. So as you're going through the skill tree, that starts feeling more and more Neo. And it's also got a similar kind of loot system to Neo where you can get the same like helmet drop, for example, but there's different rarities of that helmet, like blue, purple, and then there's also randomly rolled stats on that helmet. So you could end up getting one that has, like crit chance or attack up or, insert millions of options here. So yeah, it's got a lot of it's probably the closest to Neo game that I've played that's not like a Team Ninja game.
Okay.
So after playing that, I was like even more excited because Neo 2 is like one of my favorite games ever. And this is, really the first time I've kind of played a game that feels very Neo. And it's good. Like the boss fights are really, really, really fun. Super fun boss fights. The weapons are really fun. You've got like a great sword, dual wielding an axe and a sword.
Mhm.
You've got a spear. Yeah, everything was very fun.
it-
I loved it.
Is it parry centric, dodge centric, or a
So
mix
you can
of both?
do either. Yeah. So there's a skill tree that's all about guarding, and there's a skill tree that's all about dodging. So if you're
Right.
like dodging is my thing, I'm gonna go all in on that. You want to mix and match, you can do either. So
Blend. Okay.
really, however you prefer to play, you will find a skill tree that works for the way you want to play.
Is it
Cool.
like
Is there
separate
something
levels
like-
like Neo, or is this like an open world, kind of like a world to explore?
Not open world. It's not quite like Neo where you select missions, but it's more on the Neo side than anything else. So there is like a hub world that you go to, like, Dark Souls Firelink Shrine.
Yeah.
And that's where NPCs will be, where you can like craft weapons, and you can craft. There is crafting in this game. You can craft weapons
Similar
and craft
to
armor.
Remnant, maybe.
Yeah, similar to that too. Yeah, and then you can select different like areas on the map, and then go to the areas.
When does it come out, Watts?
2025.
Oh, that's funny.
What are you gonna
Which-
do if it comes out with Monster Hunter Wilds?
I play Wilds. There's
I
not a
feel like you had
game
to ask her
in
that.
this universe that can go up against Monster Hunter Wilds. That I'd go, man, that's unfortunate, but I'd be like, I'm just gonna play it after, I'm done with a lot of Wild
But-
stuff. And even then, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be playing Wilds and then
What if
first
what if
Berserker.
there was Cult of Lamb 2 at the same time though?
No, nothing.
No
nothing,
contest. Wow,
Nothing.
that's
Did
There's
you-
no
okay.
there's no contest.
Talking about Cult of Lamb, did you see all the people in Australia
did.
packs get married at
Yes.
the cult altar?
Yeah. So if you don't know what happened, the Cult of the Lamb booth at PAX Australia,
Yeah.
they
Uh-huh.
were marrying people
Yeah.
there. So they had like a whole like audience wearing the Cult of the Lamb capes, like really making it look like a cult wedding.
Oh
It was
my God,
amazing.
that's
Wow.
awesome. Those are great wedding
Yeah.
That's
pictures.
really cool.
I think there was at least 2 weddings.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But I
really
bet
Yeah,
it was
that's
cheap
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
They have to do all the
The
organizing.
venue
The
was
freaking
free.
Cult of the Lamb team.
Yeah, polite
Yeah,
reminder.
that was
if-
incredible.
I did
If y'all
wonder
ever
how.
see me out in the wild, I'm ordained still. So slip me a 50 and ask me to marry you. I can do it.
I wish I had
Oh.
known that, my friend.
I'm gonna keep you on my list, TV.
Like, I did wonder how that happened. Like, did they call like, "Hey guys, we're gonna alter"? Like, how did it occur? that-
Apparently, they were organizing it for I think since April-ish, like the beginning of this year. And I remember them talking about it, so I think they probably just put out like an interest thing, and then people responded, and then they just worked with people to
found a
get it
couple,
done.
found 2 couples to work with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Sorry, that was a bit of a sidetrack.
It's
Oh, I
really-
was gonna
No,
ask
I
you
love it.
what.
Yeah, yeah.
With so many souls like, some of them more souls like than others, do you think the genre is getting a bit bloated? Are you always still enjoying souls like? Do you think, how are you feeling about the souls like genre?
I can never get bored of that genre.
I
As long
personally
as
don't
you
think there's
have,
enough
like,
good
I
ones.
just
really-
tried it out. I normally like it. I was like,
If you
ah.
have, well, so it's really, really, really hard. Well, people say it's really hard. Maybe
So
it's
I
because
won't like it.
Well, it's like it's
Khazan
not
is
hard
really
for me,
hard.
but
Wait,
I was
Khazan?
parrying and I get the parrying timing, so I'm like, it's definitely, it's challenging. The bosses have a lot of moves.
So
So it's
Khazan
definitely
is
challenging,
really
but-
hard, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of the sentiment, is that it's very, very, very difficult.
It
But I can't get bored of that genre. Like, if you have good feeling combat and very good bosses, then that's like, I'm very happy.
I don't think there's enough
Okay.
good ones to get bored of them yet. Like,
That's true.
If we're getting like 3 good ones a year, I can see getting bored of it. But I don't feel like we get 2 good ones a year. I don't even know if we
I
get
would say
one
you
good
get
one.
one.
Yeah.
One
Oh, we
maybe.
had some good
Yeah.
ones. Liza P was a good one, right?
Liza P was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Liza P was fantastic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
I think
Was
there's
it-
just
what was
what
the
it
one
is.
I hated?
I was gonna say I think it's more the visual because there's so many games we look at now. We're like, oh, it must be a Souls-like, and you're like, actually, no, it wasn't. Like, yeah, right. Like, Watts, you don't think Wukong is a Souls-like, right?
No, I
It's
don't.
not really.
don't.
It shares a lot of elements. It's just like third-person action RPG combat stuff, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of it. But I do think stylistically we see so much of it that it feels like there's a ton of Souls-like. But yeah, when you get down to it, especially
Gotta
the
be
ones
that
that do
dark, gritty.
it
Yeah.
like Dark Souls and Elden
Yeah.
Ring, and it's very few actually that do
This
it well,
happens
so.
once in a while, right? It's like once in a while, like a game will kind of like revolutionize like a certain aspect of video games, and
Mhm.
everybody will just
Yeah.
copy it for a bunch of time until somebody else like does the next thing. Like Batman
Innovates
Arkham
again, yeah.
Asylum, like everybody was doing Batman Arkham Asylum combat for like 10
Type
years.
combat. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you see that with like the healing mechanic in Souls now. Everyone's like, okay, we have 3 heals and you recharge it. So a lot of just
Mhm.
like action RPGs tend to have at least like 1 or 2 elements. But that's why like subgenres exist, right? It's like it has to be
Yeah.
really specific to that subgenre.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just doesn't really work out.
What would you say the defining aspect of like Berserker is compared to other Souls? Is it the weapon upgrade system, like the weapon tree system? Because like Liza P
yeah.
has like the tool, right? Your like
Yeah.
arm that you modify, like that's kind of its like defining aspect. Is there something like that in Berserker?
Yeah, so I think the art style definitely stands out because it's cell shaded. Like cell shaded,
Oh,
you,
it
you
is
just
right.
don't
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
don't really see that. So it definitely looks different. So that helps it stand out. But yeah, the skill tree. I mean, you don't see a lot of Souls likes in general with skill trees because they normally just have like deck,
Stats
strength,
normally.
health. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have
So
that
there's no
with like the
is there stats
scaling
too
and
like
everything.
that?
Yeah. hmm
Okay.
There's
And then your skill
stats
tree.
and it scales off of those stats like each weapon does. And then you have the skill tree. And the skill tree you can refund anytime you like. So if you're like, I think I want to try the spear, you can take all your points out of the greatsword,
Oh,
put it
that's
into
so
the spear.
good.
I love that.
So I
I
was
hate when games
experimenting all
punish
the
you
time.
from like
Yeah.
Yeah.
specking into something. And you're
Makes
like,
me sad.
oh well, now the game's too hard.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and as
Yeah.
a developer, like, wouldn't you want, people to experience the full breadth of your game instead of pigeonholing themselves? And
Yeah.
because I feel like someone's much more likely to respec on the fly to try a new way of playing than they are to make a new character or make a new save file and
Well,
try it different.
Definitely. Yeah.
I feel like some games are like, nah, we're so confident you're gonna love it, you're gonna want to replay it with like another class anyway, so get wrecked. Like,
Yeah. I think with Khazan, so I think the fact that I think this is the only game besides a Team Ninja game that feels like Neo that I've ever played. I think that is going for it because I can say, hey, if you like Neo, this game's actually got a lot in common. Like they just don't exist very, very much. And the combat is very, very fast, very aggressive. You're not going to just be standing there like waiting to attack. They want you to be aggressive. And then the skill tree opens up some pretty crazy abilities.
So it's
very-
a skill tree
very
like perks, right? Like perk specific stuff to the weapon.
To the weapon, yeah. So you'll get like you can unlock different moves for your greatsword, for example. You leap in the air and stab down, and yeah.
Okay, that's like a
I
bit more like
loved it.
actiony RPG, isn't it?
It is very actiony, yeah. Yeah, it is very actiony.
Mixed with the Souls like. All right, cool.
It's really good. I was already looking forward to it, and then I was like, okay. I saw that if you're farming enemies, you can get like a blueprint to drop to make that armor, and there's set bonuses. That was also like a Neo thing. There are set bonuses on the armor,
Okay.
so you can mix and match set bonuses. Yeah,
It's
I
got a lot
can't
of
wait.
good
It's gonna be
elements to
good.
it.
Apparently, it's coming early next year. Which this demo was. I had no performance problems at all. So
That's a good
considering
sign.
that they're letting people just play it, pretty much, I would expect it to be earlier than
You
later
said
in
you
that
played it on
early part of the
PlayStation?
year. Yeah, I was on PS5.
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
I actually have played the same game as that I've seen you play on stream. which is Metaphor.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
metaphor. Woo, baby.
I had a Metaphor afternoon after our last podcast, and had
Oh,
a
nice.
just a kind of sit back, relax, had a drink, and kind of enjoyed the story. It was interesting. Like, it's not usually my type of game, but I think the
It looks great.
animations and storytelling is like, if
Yeah.
you're going with that mindset to kind of plonk on the couch and like kind of
Right.
half watch an anime, half play a game.
This is Metaphor
Yeah, I think
ReFantazio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
think you'll have a pretty good
93 on Metacritic, one of the highest rated games of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd love to play the game because actually I just haven't played like a turn-based in a really
Yeah.
long time, and like just a good JRPG, right? And
Mhm.
it looks awesome, but like I don't have
It's
the time.
intimidating. It's very
Yeah.
intimidating.
It's
It's
a-
a long
it's-
It
game.
looks
a lot of
real
meat.
good.
There's a
I
lot of meat there.
And yeah, I put that out there because I think if, let's say, because like me, I never got into anime, not because I don't like it, I just haven't. And I think
Yeah.
you could look at it and be like, well, I'm not really an anime guy. But I'd be like, even if you're not a Persona person, if you're not an anime person, it just looks really good. And
It
if you
looks
like
really good.
JRPG turn-based stuff, I would just play it.
Can you
And the
hoverboard
thing-
on your sword?
Correct. Yes. Yes, you can.
Sold.
Yep,
Why wouldn't
naturally.
you?
What else do you need?
The thing with like JRPGs and turn-based games and these like massive games, sometimes it can take a while. People will say you need 10 hours and then the story will really grip you and you'll be in there.
That is
The
a
thing
fail.
that I think this game does really well is right from the first cutscene, I was
Mm.
like, ooh. I was
I like
really
that.
interested. There's a lot of like political intrigue, and there's politics and religion and all this kind of stuff going on, and you get to know that right away. So I think they get you in on it right away. You're interested in the story, you're interested in the characters, and you get into the action. It doesn't take as long as other games, but like the interest in that story, like really was like, okay, I'm all the way
I
in
think
here
I think
right
the
away.
story popped off quicker than the combat did. Like, it actually takes a
Yeah.
little bit of time to get to actually seeing the turn-based stuff, but the story's kind of gripping enough to keep you in it.
It's got a
Yeah.
close
Very,
look
like-
to it too. It's real stylish. It's definitely Persona looking, kind of
Yeah.
stylized. Especially
And the music is, of
transitions.
course,
Oh
fantastic.
yeah, the music's
it?
crazy. Yeah.
So you're watching like beautiful graphics and animations, and you're listening to incredible music, and you have a very interesting story. Like it's hard not to get pulled into the
And
world.
the great thing is you can just download the demo for free if you want to try it out. It's probably like
Mhm.
what, 10 hours of gameplay, maybe more in there, is
Yeah.
Does
there?
your save
Yep.
transfer over?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does indeed.
There you
Yep.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
And the
looks cool.
demo is still there, even though the game is out. So
Awesome.
yeah, just go play the game if you're at all interested. And even with the turn-based thing, if that's not normally your thing, I think the turn-based is really fun in here. The classes are really cool. Just like they essentially have a job system in this game, and you can kind of switch whenever you want outside of combat. And there's a lot of very cool ones. Like your character turns into a knight or a merchant or a mage or healer. There's so many.
Mm.
Really good.
And by the way, I know it was only just like published by Sega. You know, Atlas
Mhm.
does this, but Yakuza had that trailer today too in Xbox. But it was just making me think. I'm like, we might be. Remember when like Capcom was kind of like going through? It's like, man, we were trying to reinvent itself, get some bangers. Now it's all bangers. Like,
Yeah.
what if
Sure.
Sega's on the way?
Sega
Mm.
is on
Back
the
to
way.
being
They've been
all
doing
bangers.
it.
They
Yeah.
are.
That's what I'm saying. I think we're starting to
They
witness
are.
the arc. Next thing you know, it's going to be all Sega
Sega.
bangers.
They've
All
been
Sega
doing it
banners.
though for a while. They came out with that Streets of Rage 4 a while back.
That's
The-
right.
Rage
Yeah, I
was
remember
good,
that.
The
yeah.
Yakuza games have been good. They're coming.
And they
they're-
announced all the
remake games.
the
They also-
stuff. Yeah.
This is a weird one. Fran, you might be the only person in this group that remembers this game, but they're making a movie out of Eternal Champions.
I vaguely was that like Double Dragon?
No, it was like a Street Fighter for the Sega Genesis. But
What?
with
Okay,
Sega,
yeah, but okay,
it's a weird
But it was like
franchise.
Street
They're also
Fighter,
making a
though. Okay.
Shinobi movie.
yeah, that I do remember.
Mm.
I'm telling you, yeah, they're coming around the bend again.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. Did not know that about Eternal Champions.
Eternal Champions is a weird franchise to resurrect for a movie.
Stranger things have
The
been done.
deep cut. Yeah.
That's true. It is a very deep cut. I want to talk
Check
about
out
a
the
couple of
Metaphor
cartoons
demo, guys.
that
Go
I've been
download
watching.
it. It's free.
Okay.
All right.
The
Cartoon
first
Town with
one
Briar?
is, did you guys see Lara Croft Tomb Raider? Can't remember the exact name. But they
I
made
did
a
see, yeah, I haven't watched it, but yeah, it looks good.
new cartoon on
animated chick.
Netflix, I think it was. And yeah, it wasn't bad, but it's got this like really disturbing part, like right at the beginning, where Lara Croft and her mentor or friend, they go into this South American tomb, and they're being chased by what is never really explained, but one can assume are locals, right? Who are trying to protect the
Okay.
tomb.
Okay.
Yeah.
They go in, they lose the locals, like by, doing some rope shit over a chasm. They get in,
Of course. Yeah.
they pull off the maneuver with the, grabbing the idol off of the stand, like Raiders of the Lost
Indiana
Ark
Jones
style.
style. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then the
Yep.
locals catch up, who they then murder. So, and you have no explanation of who these guys are, but it looks like maybe they're there protecting their heritage.
Are we the baddies?
A little bit of colonization, a little bit of robbery for the
we
British Museum.
baddies?
Yeah, like whoa. Like, these guys aren't Nazis. Like, we can't just kill them with impunity and go about our day feeling great and drinking lemonade. These are people trying
Just
to
the
protect their
locals.
fucking like
Their
their
artifacts,
history.
yeah.
Yeah, and wasn't like Tomb Raider mostly just like animals you had to fight off most of the time?
Like back in the day,
It was
they
a
have
lot of animals.
evolved. There's been a lot of Tomb Raider
Yeah.
games. And I think the
Yeah.
recent Tomb Raider games, the recent reboot was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty gruesome as well, the reboot. You were friggin' going in
It got
there, chopping
weird.
people up.
It got
Ice
weirder
Baby,
as
Ice
it
Baby.
went. Like the first one I thought was really good. The second one was pretty good, and the
yeah.
third one was just kind of like a little bizarre tonally, but still
I think it
fun.
was the first one I remember. There's a part where you get caught up in like rushing water, and you have to
Yes.
sort of control where you go to. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun little mini game. Yeah, this is fun. And then I didn't put in the proper input. Next thing I know, she's impaled and a tree is going
Yeah.
through her, and she's like grabbing it like,
That's right.
oh, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
It's a pretty gruesome game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
weirdly.
yeah. You
She
get
was
the
just like the
shit kicked
cool
out of you in that game.
acrobat gymnast lady who flipped around and shot things back in the day.
I really like
Yeah.
that game. But yeah, this
Yeah,
this
it
series
was
is
good.
okay, but that is starting out in that way. Like it never left my mind. Like, holy shit, this woman is a psychopath and has now like she never addresses this like murder that she does at the very beginning. Like it's the first scene of the movie. It's like she's just killing people. Like, but I mean, and then it's like a kind of a standard. Somewhat, I would say it falls off from there. It's a little boring, honestly, as it goes.
That's
Like
too
it
bad.
doesn't really.
It's not
It's
funny.
it's really hard to get attached to Laura after you've seen her do the murder. Like.
Big kind of a turn off.
Yeah, but it was all right. Other than that, I also watched Terminator Zero. Have you guys seen that?
Oh,
Terminator Zero. I haven't seen it. I've heard lots of good things about it.
How is it?
It's a really strange one because they kind of take some ideas from the Terminator movies, but then they kind of just like throw it on the table and just kind of mix the cards around and pull out what they feel like lore that they feel like taking from the Terminator franchise and just like forgetting about the rest. So like, for instance, they do like the whole back in time thing. Like they have a lady who goes back in time to save somebody from a Terminator who's been set in time. But the Terminator is a little bit weird because it never feels like this robotic like force of nature that's just like unstoppable, like walking forward. He can't be stopped. All you can hope to do is get away for a little while. It's almost like this Terminator is like a psychopath. Like he skulks around and he's like, he talks a lot and he explains himself to people, which you don't expect from a Terminator. So it's got a different feel to it. And I almost wish they just hadn't called it Terminator because I ended up really enjoying it. The only time that I got pulled out was like, that's not really what the Terminator lore is about. You know what I mean?
Interest.
Sure,
So it's like,
sure.
I was like, if they had freed me of like being concerned about what a Terminator is, I would have been more
Right.
open to just like accepting this as it was. But I don't know if I would have watched it, because the only reason I watched it was because it's a Terminator. I don't
That's
like
the
that.
Terminator name, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Terminator.
but it was cool. I really did enjoy it. But like you got to be a little open to like a newer interpretation of what a Terminator.
I'm always open
could
to
be.
new interpretations when it comes to stuff that's got such rich heritage, but it's old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd almost prefer sometimes that somebody try to take it in a new direction, because I feel like more often than not, when they try to revisit great old franchises, they ruin
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
Oh, so
So
often. Yeah.
That's a good
yeah.
point.
So for example, I've really enjoyed the Rings of Power series, and I'm a
Yeah.
Tolkien nerd.
I was
Like, I've
thinking
read
of
the
that.
Silmarillion, I've read all the books. So I've read 2 different Tolkien books to my children this year alone, start to finish. So
Which two?
well, we did The Hobbit and the Fellowship with them, because we watched the Fellowship together, and
Yeah.
I was like, books do it way different. Books do it something way different here. That's really cool. And
Yeah.
they're like, stop talking about it, read it to us. I was like, okay, let's do it.
Are you gonna
So
keep going,
anyways.
or will you wait a little while?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
because
they're
they
all
definitely
in.
get darker as they go, right?
Well, even the Fellowship is dark. Like, even just escaping the Shire, the hunt, the Nazgul,
Yeah, that's true.
it's like a 10-minute tops, sequence in the movies, but in the books it's chapters of them. They're literally crawling around on the ground, sniffing out the hobbits for chapters, and getting all creepy with it. So it's really fun. And the Barrow Whites, you missed the Barrow Whites in the movie. That's super cool. And then
Tom Bombadil.
Rings of Power, you missed Tom Bombadil, and then Rings of Power comes in. They're like, this didn't happen in the Silmarillion, but we'd really love to explore these characters and find a way that we can weave them into Tolkien's story for what happens in these other ages, without derailing his story. So that's what they do. They kind of weave in these things we wish we would have been able to see in the movies, like Tom Bombadil, like the Barrow Whites, and they've done a really good job, I think. So
I'm way more open to
without-
it with Rings of Power than I was with The Hobbit. I think because The Hobbit was
The
kind
Hobbit
of
was
like
trash
too
movies.
soon,
Sorry,
and it
go
was
ahead.
like I agree with you. Really, it was like too soon, and like the characters, like they did things that just didn't make sense for the characters, like Legolas.
That's right.
And like
Mhm.
they added stuff and they took away stuff that I feel like if they had just done like a one movie, like pretty straightforward, less CG. Like, they did such a good job with the Lord of the Rings movies. It's just a shame what they did with the Hobbit movies.
And Rings of Power sort of revisited what made the first trilogy work so well, which is like, let's not do a lot of CGI. Let's actually have a full cast of 70 orcs in full costumes. And cinematically, it's a beautiful show.
It is the best thing that Jeff Bezos has ever done. Maybe the only thing too. But spending all of that money, I'm like, thank you. This is the one thing for sure that I was just like, yeah, because I feel like there's these gratuitous shots in Rings of Power that like they're kind of unnecessary, but they're like, this is such a
It looks
like
good,
cool excessive shot, and I love that
Does
they
look
did
cool.
it. I love that they had the money to do all this.
100%. And they did Sauron well in season 2. Like Sauron being full blown, girl boss, gatekeep, gaslight, boss bee. Fantastic.
I honestly enjoyed season 2 much more than I enjoyed season 1.
Yeah. So we wrapped that up.
My wife
in
had a
terms of what I've been.
criticism is that
Oh, go
the
ahead.
woman who plays Galadriel, it's just
Yeah,
hard
Morphin.
that she has to like play the same role that was it Kate Blanchett that played her in the movies.
Yeah.
It's just that's a hard act to follow because she fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. But she's also 1,000 years younger.
Yeah.
And has not been wearing a ring of power for a millennia. You know what I mean? So she's a completely different character too, and that kind of frees her up to have a little bit of fun with the role too, because she doesn't necessarily have to be Kate Blanchett. She needs to be what will end up being Kate Blanchett in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
that's a little
thought
different.
the second season was so good that it has me worried that they're gonna pull the plug on the budget. That's what I'm like. Oh, just
I hope not.
please follow through with this.
Yeah.
I know you're doing all this other stuff, but just spend the billions on this. It's worth it. For all of
Right.
us.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Have you guys seen the Wheel of
And-
Time series that's also on Amazon? Because
I haven't.
it's
no.
a similar kind of style of show, but you can see where the
Yeah.
budget goes, or where the budget isn't.
Oh, okay.
I gotta mention we're coming up to our 2-hour mark here.
Yeah.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't at least say, as somebody who's been faithfully serving the Emperor for
I was gonna
almost
ask.
300
Yes.
for almost 300 hours, they surprise dropped. We knew it was going to come soon, but they never gave us a date. But this morning, like as I'm fumbling out of bed and check Twitter, and the community is like, "It's live now!" It's like 6 a.m.
Like, what do you
today.
mean?
They dropped a brand new operation, and these operations, these missions are, I mean, they're long. They could be 40 minutes long. They're not. I mean, Briar, you've played them.
Yeah.
If you're a well-seasoned player and you know the routes and all the spawns and all that kind of stuff, you can get it done in 30 minutes. But they're kind of like 40-minute missions with their own mechanics and boss encounters and stuff like that. So they dropped a brand new one. You were showing off your Tyranids you've been collecting. It's a new Tyranid mission, and what these enemies do is they basically, once they conquer a planet, they build these like spires made out of like the biomass of like any humans that they killed. They just repurpose their flesh, and they basically make these straws where they suck up all the goo that they kind of condense us all into their hive ships.
Yeah.
So they basically took over the planet, and the mission is a spite mission. It's like, all right, cool, we can see defeat, but we're gonna take down your straws so you can't suck up all our dead
Interesting.
people.
So it's continuing the story.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's
very cool.
so it's actually a great mission, and it has a lot of really fun mechanics and a great boss fight to it that I don't want to spoil. But that's just like it just happened, right? As well as a brand new difficulty level where it's called Lethal. And I played like 6 hours of Lethal stuff straight today and had a blast with it.
Nice.
And it's hard. It's real hard. Like I had to get a team of cracked out gamers that knew what they were doing. We had to think about our team composition and strategies. And I love almost every change to this difficulty level. Stuff like removing information from your HUD. You don't know when enemy waves are coming. Another thing is that you have these random sort of mini boss encounters in these missions where like a lictor, we talked about the leapers earlier. They're kind of like that. Sometimes they just jump out of nowhere and you guys got to like group up on it to take it down. Well, now you could have 4 of them at once in this hard mode.
boy.
Like literally a pack of them can jump from every direction. You're just like, what is going on?
That's fun.
So you have to kind of try and deal with that, or it's like a mix of, you got a lictor, but you also have the burrowing ravager that's going to come up from below, and then you also have this floating psionic, sort of looks like Jimmy Neutron's head floating through the sky, shooting waves of energy at you too. So you have to like manage all of it at once. Yeah, the changes are fantastic. My only one complaint is that this I hope they end up removing it or reworking it. But they introduced this new mechanic. It's called I think it's called like tight configuration or something like that. But if you are like 15 feet away from your teammate, which is not far at all, by the way, it's like to the other side of the room, of a small room, you no longer get health back. You can't regenerate health. You can't like get your armor
What?
charges
The
back on
Destiny
your
modifier.
on your perfect
Yeah.
parries, on your perfect dodges, your executions.
Is that
None of those
only
things
in
will
lethal
give
mode?
you health. Only in lethal.
Okay.
And I hate it because it
Yeah.
ruins class identity, because they set up all these classes where you literally have one guy that's the Vanguard, he grapples and he flies in to take out high priority targets, while the sniper is going to be back further and
Yeah.
popping
Right,
heads to
yeah.
get things executable for the guy that's up in front so he can recharge his arm. Well, he can't do it anymore because you're not close enough to literally touch them.
Yeah.
And I
that's a
They
think
just
that
have
big
to look at
change.
Destiny, man. People
just-
hate that modifier in
Dude.
Destiny.
It just destroys team composition, and like
I don't love that.
class identity just gets thrown out the window. You basically just
Yeah.
huddle up and walk through the whole thing together like this, And so I really hope they take that out, because I think it does the game a huge disservice by taking player autonomy off
Yeah.
the board. So that's my one complaint. Other
Agreed.
than that, everything else about it is phenomenal.
Good to hear. Good to hear their first drop is like got some really good content in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any new weapons
And there's a lot
or
more
anything
coming.
like that?
So we get a new sidearm this season as well, but it could be 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks,
okay.
1 week, I don't know. But so we'll get a new weapon as well. We do have horde mode coming. We've got other operations. We got new PvP maps coming. So there's plenty of content planned. But they've just spaced it out a lot, and they're not telling us when it's happening. It's just gonna happen.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm okay with that. Release it when you're done. I'm gonna play that tomorrow though. I'm looking forward to that.
Heck yeah.
Separate to this, I wanted to ask TV, did you look at Witchfire at all? Or look into it? Does it appeal to you?
I didn't get a chance to play it,
No.
but I did watch some gameplay just so I knew what you guys were talking about.
Okay.
Hobie's
No,
been
I was just
streaming
curious
some
if
of
it caught
so-
your eye, Myelin and I.
It looks really cool.
We're
I'm
going
not
off
gonna
of
lie.
that.
I really like the
Yeah.
whole aesthetic. It's really
Yeah, if you
visually
find some
pleasing.
time, maybe check it out. But it's still like, 2025. Although it's early access now, you can play some. But
Yeah, you can actually play a bit. I want to just give people a heads up about something because this is happening on Thursday and it will be before the show. So I got to tell you now,
next,
Monster Hunter Wilds is having a showcase next Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific. And this is part of the Paris Game Show stuff. And with Monster Hunter World, with Paris Game Show, they announced the demo date. So it wasn't, they weren't like, it's out now, but they announced the demo date for World at Paris Game Show. So a lot of us are like, they're saying we've got exciting announcements and updates about WoW. So we're like, oh,
Copy that.
demo date maybe.
Copy that.
So it's very early, but I will be live streaming that because I have to. It's Monster Hunter Wilds.
No
Got to.
shot. I don't believe you.
No, got to. I have to get up at 5 to be live for 7, but
Ooh,
Oh, boo hoo.
That's
I
like
go to bed at
that's
2.
like
Mylin's
go to
his
the-
whole life.
It's
going to
to
the
bed at 2.
airport early. Like that's the only time I wake up at 5.
I'm with Watts. That's an ungodly hour.
Yeah.
but-
Talking about, well, I feel it because I
If
went
I
to
was
bed
in the schedule of going to sleep
Yeah, if
before
you're, like-
1 or 2 a.m., then it's fine. But I'm not.
It's funny. That's what
I-
Dot's schedule is. He's like live at 6 a.m. Sometimes. I'm like, oh my god.
Briar,
no.
you never do sunrise kayaking?
No.
That's good stuff.
No.
There's
I was
nobody
like, nah.
out. There's nobody out, man. It's
Not
great.
me.
Yeah.
Sunset.
Sunset. I love it.
Close to
Well,
the
about it.
Sunset kayaking.
Sunset. More appropriate to bring beer. More appropriate.
Yeah.
Oh, Briar, you'll appreciate this. Speaking of beer,
Not
hang on.
exclusive.
So my mother-in-law
TV
is
go?
awesome. Hang on, I can't do this with one hand. She goes like estate sales and auctions and stuff like that to find just really weird, cool stuff. And so she like found this and restored it for me. It's over 200 years old. You ready for this? This is an
Whoa.
OG Stein that she
Oh, that's
cleaned up.
sick.
And this is hand
That is
hand crafted and carved. Isn't this amazing?
That is
Wow.
amazing.
The details are
that's really
insane.
cool.
Yeah. So
What does
really
it say?
cool.
on the
genuinely
front?
really
Is it in
cool.
German?
I don't know. It's German.
Can I see it?
I love the fat
I
belly.
can't read it. I was just
Like so
curious.
it's not straight. It's got like kind of a belly to it.
It says from Sin und
Heiterkeit.
Heiterkeit.
And then welcome everyone.
I don't know.
I can read that part.
Okay, someone German help.
Help us
So
out.
I'm gonna
That's really cool, man.
That's
obviously
really,
I'm
really
gonna
cool.
put some beer in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Better start with a German.
That's true. Start with the
You'll
German
get
beer.
cursed if
I
you
like
don't.
that idea. It's possible.
Very cool.
I jumped into someone's human. That's why
Yeah.
Oh,
I went
yeah.
to bed at 2 a.m. and got up at 5 today. After playing their new
Season.
scenario, which is basically a season,
Okay.
new server, new weapons, new armor, new area, new
New
mechanics.
survival mechanics.
It's like the first big update, right?
Yeah, there's the first
Yeah.
big PvE update. So they have like a temperature system now. So the surviving part is a little bit more challenging, like going to areas you kind of need to manage different things to keep your temperature the right way. Otherwise, you're just going to die. It's more of the same. It's good. Like if you like Once Human and you like the previous grind, like it's fun. The servers are full and busy and people chatting and building and crafting again. And I've been enjoying it. They've made overall, since the release of Human, some really good changes to like how you grind the game, because there was a pretty huge grind. For those who don't play, like there's a mod system. Like every armor slot has a mod, has multiple mods. You know, you have like frost mods, you have bounce mods, you have shrapnel mods, and within each of those categories, there's like 5 or 6 mods, and then
Yeah.
you're rolling for the specific mod with the primary attribute, and then specific secondary attributes. And there's like quite a few rounds of RNG built in that to get like a god roll, and it actually makes a huge difference. Like you do have to invest time into min-maxing to get big numbers,
Yeah.
but when you do, it feels really good. But some of the changes I've made gives a huge amount of autonomy to players. So with this one, what you do is if you want to chase a power surge mod, you know which solid to complete, which is basically a strike mission. And usually they'll, or for a power surge, you need to do a boss, but normally the boss will drop like power surge and shrapnel, and you never know which one you got. You could get like 1 in 8 chance to get whatever. Now it drops a crate, and you actually get to select like which type of mod you want. So it gives you a lot. So you're always going to
Nice.
get the mod you're after now, but now you're just grinding the attributes. Probably a bit like, I don't know, like Diablo, right? You're grinding those, like the percentage increases, rather than just like grinding, getting the actual mod. So you're guaranteed to get the kind of the mod you're sort of after, and then you're looking at the attributes. So that's gonna,
Getting the perfect one.
yeah, people are gonna start doing crazy YouTube videos now, because it gives a lot more player choice to what you're going after. They also did another thing called like a blueprint swap. So there's kind of like a meta game where you level up your blueprints, and that's what sticks with you between seasons. So it's when you're clearing bases, you find blueprints, and you can use spare blueprints to. It's like having a red border and then having a red border 2 stars, red border 3 stars, red border 4. Like the more red borders you get, like your blueprint levels up and does more damage. If you take that like Destiny way of thinking to it. And what it meant was you usually invest in one weapon and then like have no blueprints for anything else. And now you can swap them. So you can like, once you've
That's
finished with one
good.
build, you can like, and you've got like a bunch of blueprints and a bunch of stars on it, you can give it to another blueprint and you can try something else. So I'm pretty impressed with how quickly they've implemented some of those things, because these are all things that weren't in the game
Yeah.
on launch. And now it's like, hey, like we heard it's too much grind for the mods you want, so we've put them in a crate and you can select which ones you want. And then
Yeah, that's great.
swapping blueprints is also like really user friendly as well, and it's by NetEase. So these are like usual things that are very mobile centric, because you've got to just like grind out to get those things, and they're giving you a fair bit of autonomy to like switch around between them. So
Yeah,
yep.
Once Human is really like the NetEase game that I look at and go, it's possible. It's possible the Destiny Rising or whatever game, you're interested in comes from NetEase could be a solid experience as a free-to-play player.
Yeah, I mean they got a lot of cosmetics, a lot of
They do, yeah.
microtransactions, and they are all cosmetic. There's not a single thing that is in the survival aspect of the game, or in the weapon aspect of the game, or the mod aspect, or the blueprint aspect. It is entirely like cosmetics for your house, cosmetics for you, cosmetics for your gun, charms, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's pretty fun. If you're ever looking for a game like that, it's free, so give it a try.
Yeah.
Give it a
But
try.
I mean, still the biggest issue with the game is this whole like server complexity. Like I literally made a video of how to change to servers, because I was getting so many questions. Like every second question was like, how do I change? How do I get into the new content? How do I get out of like my phase and get into the new stuff? And it is convoluted, and they still need a bit of work on how to streamline that and play with friends. So like I had a friend that's like, I'm going to have to leave my server, miss out on Starcrom, which is like a material, because to join you before your server's full.
Yeah.
Or we can't
yeah.
play again for another whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's find a way to better manage that.
For
And
sure.
then this was like early in the morning, so I'm like posting in my Discord, like, this is the server we're going to. Like, reserve your spot on the server if you want to play together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun game though. It is very fun.
Mm.
Genuinely a good time.
Should we do some Twitter questions?
Yeah,
Hit me
you're
with
losing
a
me.
couple, Briar.
Yeah, same. I gotta eat soon, but definitely we should
All
grab.
right, I'll do 3.
Okay.
Mohegan Knight
Perfect.
says, have you ever accidentally waved at somebody you didn't know, and how did you play it off?
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I
funny.
have.
Yeah, I bet.
Like somebody walks
I
into
I
the
think
went up to
restaurant.
you know
someone.
what I did? I pretend I'm waving to someone behind them.
Oh,
You know, so I
right.
just
get him.
continue waving. I'm
The
like,
double cross.
oh, hi, Daniel. Yeah. So then they're like, oh, okay. She's waving to someone behind me.
I do the
I'm pretty sure
reverse
I've done it
Spaceballs,
in-
and I wave, and then I go, whoop.
You go, oh.
Pretty sure it happened to me, and I just owned up to it. I'm like, oh, you
Yeah.
said
Like-
someone you didn't know, right? You're like, oh, I
Yeah.
thought you were someone I knew. You know?
There's different situations
I
that
went
happens in. Like sometimes you're in a
It's-
restaurant and you think somebody's like waving at you, so you
Yeah.
wave back, and then you realize they're waving.
Yeah,
at someone.
yeah.
But sometimes like people are
that's
just
the
like
worst
your
one.
neighbors are walking by. You don't know them, but you wave anyway just because you're friendly. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
for those are it's when someone waves at you and you don't recognize them. That's
Yeah,
when it sucks.
and then
Yeah.
you're like,
Right.
and then
Oh,
you
crap.
pretend you're waving at the person behind them. You're waving at the person.
That's what I've
behind them. They don't know.
done. What's up? Oh, you know,
Yeah.
on the
You
phone.
go from this to this. Like, yeah, I was talking to someone.
I'm-
Don't worry about it.
Have the
I'm
phone,
on
you
the
know, and it's not
phone.
even. Well, you can just point to your earbuds now too. Like,
Yeah.
I was at PAX Australia. I think it was PAX,
Mm.
and I don't know why, but this guy looked like, you know, young Khan.
Yeah.
I went
Oh,
up to
really? It
him
looked like young Khan.
100% and just started talking to him, and this guy was like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
and then like after I was with my friend Log, and he's like, "How? He's American. Why would he be in Australia?" I was like, "I don't know."
Yeah, you
Young
got
Khan,
to
like,
here to do some like art stuff. You never
Yeah,
know.
I don't
Young
know.
Khan has
Could've
such
been.
a distinct look. He's huge. He's muscles.
Yeah,
he's
cut,
big.
cut off
well, he
tees.
was a
and
big dude. I was like, "Holy
big
shit, it's
beard.
him!"
Did he have the big beard? And was he wearing headphones?
I don't know. Are you
Yes, he
sure it
had
was him? Did he
headphones
just?
on too.
No
Okay.
shot.
not-
Okay,
That's
I'll give you
like
grace.
very-
I'll give
wow.
you grace then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's funny.
Oh.
Thomas says, trying metaphor on your guys' Rex. I'm still playing the prologue, so having never played any games like this before, what balance of gameplay should I expect after the prologue? There's a lot of story right now, and I wish there was a bit more combat. Does it balance out? Love you guys.
So you're gonna get to a thing where with what a lot of these games do, they do a big like story dump of like the town, the city, the people, the
Yeah.
story, the background, and then you'll have like a big chunk of gameplay. But then it's gonna do the same thing again, where it's gonna do like maybe go to a new town or something new has happened. There's a lot of story, a lot of talking to people, a lot of talking to townspeople and your allies, and then you'll have another big chunk of gameplay. So there's definitely like lots of gameplay segments. Like no spoilers, but there was a portion where I did recently where I'm supposed to be going into this dungeon, but I was like really low on mana. So it took me a couple like I think like 3 entries into this dungeon before I actually ended up doing the main big fight. And that was just like combat for like 3 in-game days, you know. But yeah, you're gonna experience that. So I guess you could say it does even out, but definitely be expecting like big story stuff in big chunks before you get to like the next big gameplay section.
JRPGs is one of those game types where sometimes you just put the controller down for a bit. You just
Yeah,
watch.
you put it on auto, you know, you can put the text on auto and you just sit there and you're like, all right. And so I think it's like exactly what Myelin said. You got to be in the mindset of like, I'm just sitting here chilling, you know, I'll get a drink, I'll have a couple snacks while I'm
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah,
But the
consider
story
it
is
an
really
interactive
good.
movie rather than a video game.
Yeah, and then there's gonna be times when you're just like running around a dungeon for 3 days.
Yeah, I did feel that though. Like I actually felt like I wanted a little bit more combat in the first bunch of hours. Just wanted to kind of feel if I liked it, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I was liking everything else I was saying, but like I haven't really done anything yet. It'd be nice to hit something.
Yeah,
but
no, that's fair.
yeah, I feel that.
Blaney McBlanderson says, Thanos demands that you make him a home-cooked meal. If he hates it, he'll snap his fingers and wipe out half the planet. If he doesn't hate it, he'll promise to leave Earth alone. What do you make for dinner? He doesn't have to like it. He just has to not hate it.
Not hate it.
Yeah, what's the most likely not
Dino
hated?
chicken nuggets.
Oof.
Chicken nuggets.
Well, I hope he snaps the southern hemisphere away.
A bacon sandwich.
Ooh, bacon
Mac and
sandwich.
cheese is a good one. Mac and
A
cheese. Big
BLT.
sandwich. BLT.
Who doesn't like a BLT?
No one could hate arancini. You ever have arancini? They're like deep fried risotto balls with cheese inside.
Oh, that sounds pretty
Dude.
good.
Yeah,
More
it's
likable than a
basically-
BLT?
Yes,
would you
make 'em
absolutely.
cheese sticks,
If
you know?
if you put arancini in front of me or a BLT,
Yeah?
yeah.
Oh.
That's
But
not
would you
even a
have
hard
to
choice.
make them like giant for his big hands? Because then you'd be like, what is this? What is this
Yeah.
piece?
Yeah.
Remember,
Like
you're not making the
giant
best
rice
food.
balls.
You're just making the food that is most likely not to be hated.
Right.
Most likely not to be hated. I guess, Stigmatic has a good point. A lot of people don't like tomatoes. So he might be one of those guys who has
Doesn't
the
like
texture and is like, oh, hate it. Hate the
Just
tomatoes.
make him the bacon sandwich.
Just bacon.
Just-
bacon and bread.
just slices of
bread,
bacon.
ketchup.
I mean,
Just give him bacon. Yeah.
just
Give
give
him
him
Surely
bacon. Give
just
him
like-
an assortment of sauces, go crazy.
Cheese pizza or something, right? Like you could normally people like you could go wrong with pizza toppings because people would be pretty picky.
Just cheese pizza.
But
yeah.
just cheese, just a good cheese pizza.
I don't think you can hate a good cheese pizza.
Do you know
no
what I mean?
matter who
Yeah.
you are.
What if
Yeah.
he's
Let's be like
lactose
what if he's
intolerant?
lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
He
that's
won't
what I'm
know until
saying.
after he's made his decision.
That's true. He can't. No snapping afterward.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's no
He's
post
sitting,
snaps.
he's sitting on the toilet going, "Oh, I'm so close right now."
Yeah. It's tough though. I think I would just go with a giant thing of like, spaghetti and meatballs, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a huge just pot of that. Cuz like I feel like if I'm him, that's going to satisfy me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're basically saying he's a toddler because we've all named food that I've
Yeah.
tried to give Leo.
But that's the theory is that we all still right? Like we all still love those things we ate as kids,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
we know better than to
No,
only
I can't
those
eat
things.
macaroni and cheese ever again. Never.
Really?
No.
Oh, I can eat mac and
Oh.
cheese
We've had it-
all
Same
day.
mac and cheese.
We've had it
scary.
so often for the kids in this house that like it turns my
Mm.
stomach. It's same
Really?
thing with ramen.
Really?
I can't do ramen anymore.
Oh man.
Can't
Can't
do
do it.
ramen.
Oh, that's rough.
No man,
Oh,
I ate
What?
Making me
so
hungry.
much ramen in college. So much.
But that's
It's
not
literally-
ramen.
It was the cheapest food you
That's
could
just
buy.
like that's
That's
just
like a cup of noodles.
dry noodles.
It says
Yeah.
ramen on the package. How are you gonna say
It's
it's not
marketing.
ramen?
It's not like
You
where
think
you
they
go.
just
where-
lie?
Real ramen. But we know what he means. Like
I
you
know what you mean. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
if you go to like a restaurant, that ramen is very different. To like,
vastly
or even
superior.
like a takeout ramen is very.
I'll take your word
different
for it because I'm never gonna order ramen at a restaurant.
That's
like
it's
never.
Oh,
Brian,
never
it is
gonna
Wait,
happen.
not
have you
the
ever had
same.
proper ramen?
I'm never
think
gonna
maybe
order
not.
it because I'm
Oh,
like
we're taking you
it
to
turns
it's-
my stomach
Wow.
to
No,
think
no,
about
no.
eating ramen.
It's nothing like it.
You're just
though.
eating
It's so good.
seasoned noodles. It's like just getting. You're basically eating seasoned pasta because it's not even the
Yeah.
same noodle
Pork
as
broth
ramen. They're not even
With,
ramen
like,
noodles.
seasoned oh my god.
Yeah.
They're not even ramen noodles.
We call it
Wow, I'm
2-minute
really
noodles.
hungry.
That's what it's called. 2-minute
2 minute.
noodles.
Well, we have cup of noodles. and stuff.
2-minute. Yeah, like cup noodles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cup noodles is probably closer to ramen than the ramen in those packets. It's probably closer.
I feel like those things are like they bring them into college campuses by the pallet load. Those top
yeah,
ramen
probably.
Right.
packages. Like,
Mhm.
it's just
Oh, I
like
bet.
everybody's making those things in those little hot pots in their dorm rooms.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Once again, we've answered all the questions of the video game world.
We did it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Saved.
We'll be back
If you
with
can
more
think of
next
anything
week.
else
Easy.
for next week.
Next
We've
week
been
I'll
doing
be
it for like
screaming
400
about Monster
episodes.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Right.
Like the demo date. Also, I think they're going to announce or show off a new monster, and I bet it's going to be a creepy one. I don't know what kind of creepy, but I think it's gonna be a creepy
Like
new monster.
like creepy
or returning monster.
crawly, or just spoopy in
It's
general?
like, yeah, just kind of like weird looking, weird, a little creepy looking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see very soon.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for
All right.
listening. We'll see you next
Thanks,
week.
guys.
Bye.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Laters.